Let's get it twisted. Let's get it blasted. All right. Kirk trial. Trump heads to NATO after effing America up. Balogun ban lifted. Abdul Stevens matchup. Michigan. Nick Palm on the broadcast to learn. Reacts are back. Bang our daily news. Graham Plattner postpones multiple events this week. Yeah, we'll I don't know what to talk about with respect to the speculations, because it's literally just at this point speculations about allegations, right? Hassan literally told us all stream recently he would game, then didn't. Toby Durden's nickname for Larry Roden, it involves Biden. Toby Durden, Lion Larry tax raising Robidan has destroyed our economy. This morning, Larry and several of his tax-raising cronies in the legislature had held a press conference ranting and raving about the work that Larry has done on our economy. Let's take a look at the numbers just for this year alone. South Dakota is ranked dead last in the nation. Joe Biden, that's crazy. Lion Larry tax-raising Joe Biden made sure South Dakota is ranked dead last in the nation, 50 out of 50. Our GDP declined by 1.6%. What is this? Hassan Piker is pushing Democrats towards a luxury belief agenda. Oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Unbelievable that it's a luxury agenda to demand healthcare. These luxury agendas, dude. These luxury beliefs. Anyway, let's get back to a real American, okay? Toby Durden. South Dakota is ranked dead last in the nation. Our GDP declined by 1.6%, double the second worst state in the nation. Larry is a nice guy, but he has zero vision for this state. We have become the laughingstock of the nation on numerous fronts, but our economy chief among them. The politicians are terrified because they know that I am going to hold them accountable. Change cannot come soon enough. July 28th, vote like the future of our state depends on it, because it does. Yep, he ain't no yellow belly coward like Larry. Lion Larry tax raising Joe Biden. Turby. A vote for Turby is a vote for Derby. He's no Dusty Johnson, and that's a good thing. Okay? That's right. Your camera is off center, Mr. Hassan. Is it? I don't think so. Yeah, Zoran was asked about the Balogun situation. One prominent politician who hasn't chimed in yet by Chris Summerfeld, okay? An op. One prominent politician who hasn't chimed in yet about the reversal of the USMT's Falera and Balogun Game 1 suspension is Mayor Zoran Mamdani. Before the suspension was reversed, though, Mamdani said on This Morning Pitch stream yesterday that Balogun was cruelly given a red card. And now he has responded to it with a classic soccer react. It's not even a this is not even a football react. At this point, this is like an internationally known reaction. And it's not a non-response. He just doesn't know ball. Wait, what? Mamdani finally chimes in with this very curious non-response. It's not a non-response, ironically enough. That is not a non-response. A non-response response, quoting Real Madrid manager Jose Mourinho's "You don't want to be in big trouble" quote. Mamdani offered a similar sentiment in a Univision interview set to air tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing the U.S. men's national team tonight. I think beyond that, I'll have to quote Jose Mourinho. Mamdani said, per transcript shared with us. This isn't even high-level ball knowledge, by the way. FIFA has lost control. France wants the yellow card for Olise lifted too. The appeals just keep coming. France appealed to FIFA to request Michael Olise's yellow card against Paraguay. Against Paraguay is rescinded. Increasingly feels like FIFA has lost control over their own World Cup here. Any comments? Yeah, I think I think it's expected. I think it's expected that Trump has basically penetrated the barrier and lifted like one of the previous things. Like FIFA has always been an unbelievably corrupt institution. Donald Trump doesn't play by the old rules of corruption, which is to never be this in your face about it. Okay? Donald Trump has successfully he's penetrated the seal, the veil. He's broken the dam. And now you're going to see more and more countries that use the power that they have, the influence that they have, the money that they have to demand better treatment. Okay? And Infantino is perhaps the best person to do this with because he is. There's no way you think this is expected. I keep up with the news to a reasonable degree. My jaw dropped when I found out, and I didn't even watch football. No, I'm saying France's decision is expected. This demand is expected now that Trump did the unexpected. Okay? To be fair, what Trump did is new and unique. That was insane. You might have disagreements on whether or not Balogun whether or not the Balogun decision was appropriate for a red card or not is a totally separate conversation. Okay? What Trump did is unacceptable. Calling up as the host nation, as the most powerful nation on the planet, calling up the head of FIFA to be like, take this fucking suspension away. Because for those of you who don't know, when you receive a red card, I covered this yesterday, but I guess I'll cover it a little bit today as well. When you get a red card, there's a next game suspension for your player. Balogun obviously is one of the best strikers, if not the best striker, right? He's on the American team, U.S. men's national team, and he would have been. He is going to be an incredibly important player in the Belgium game that is leading off to the quarterfinals. The person who wins. The team that wins this game is going to head off into the quarterfinals. It's huge. It's a very important game. Okay? Belgium is a great team. Balogun received a red card in the game prior because he just straight up landed full feet on his opponent's ankle. It was one of the grossest things I've ever seen. Now, in the game initially, they didn't even call it. But they went back, looked at it in the VAR in slow motion, and realized that he had done that. Okay? Realized that he had done that. He received a red card as a consequence of that. And, it was a controversial red card. People thought that it was bullshit. People thought that it was too aggressive. There were obviously people criticizing FIFA because Lionel Messi had done something similar as well. But there are some differences. If you look at the Lionel Messi one, at least he pulls back, whereas Balogun leans completely in as a landing pad, utilizing the crunchy ankle of his opponent as the perfect landing pad. It absolutely is not controversial. It's a red 100%, no doubt. If you watch football, I know, I think so as well. But my perception of reality feels like it's breaking. Satire writers couldn't even write this. I mean, yeah. Let's just say Americans considered it to be a controversial decision. Okay? Bro, Argentina literally has FIFA in its pocket. What are you talking about? Dude. No one is contesting whether or not FIFA is a fucking corrupt institution. Okay? Everyone understands that. People will say Cristiano Ronaldo has gotten favorable treatment in the past. I know. Okay? I know. America is now officially a soccer nation. We might as well just call it football at this point because that's what football nations do. Okay? And we have a lot of other qualities not dissimilar to other football nations as well, especially nations that are developing, okay? We got a corrupt dictator-style tyrant, a petty despot in charge who does not shy away from engaging in unbelievably corrupt acts, both at the domestic level and now at the international scale. He's been doing stuff on the international level already, but this time with his hands-on approach to changing the outcome of FIFA decisions. Okay? That is what football nations do. The problem is America has a lot more clout at the international level than other football nations could do, potentially. So, you know, Sepp Blatter did classy corruption, taking bribes for hosting rights, but never dirtied the sanctity of the game on the pitch. For that, he will always be a hero in my book. Yeah, red cards are not overturned by political phone calls. They are overturned by rules, evidence, and independent bodies. If a U.S. president intervenes in the FIFA president with the FIFA president and a player is suddenly cleared before a World Cup knockout match, the question unavoidable, quo vadis FIFA, football must never become a playground for political power, hashtag FIFA, hashtag World Cup, hashtag Gianni Infantino, and hashtag Donald Trump. Like, let's be real. This is an unprecedented level of flagrant corruption. Straight up. FIFA is one of the worst and one of the most corrupt institutions on the planet. Okay, as far as like international bodies goes, FIFA might literally be the most perverse and the most corrupt. And for many decades, this has been the case. But of course, as is the case with everything else that's going on, its corruption has moved on. It's evolved. It's gotten more ridiculous. Okay, it's gotten more ridiculous. And Infantino was the was the bulwark, was the champion of this new level of corruption. He's certainly leveled it up. And this is yet another instance. Okay, this is yet another instance where the corruption has moved even further beyond. Sepp Blatter calling Infantino out is absolutely hilarious. Like Hitler criticizing himself in the mirror. I mean, the irony is that because of the thing that I just mentioned, like where the situation is getting worse, like Infantino is unironically worse than Sepp Blatter. Blatter. Hitler versus Mussolini. In any case, today I feel like Donald Trump, is what he said. So now more appeals are coming from other countries. France has appealed to FIFA to request Michael Olivier's yellow card against Paraguay is rescinded. Increasingly feels like FIFA has lost control. FIFA have lost control over their World Cup here. I thought you were about to say Infantino is worse than Hitler. No. I'm not. I'm not that much of a LARPer. I just, know the memes. I know the metas. I'm not that into football. If I was, I would probably say that. I'm sure there are people who sincerely believe that. I'm sure there are people who have said that in the past. Okay. Can Iran appeal the gold that was stolen from them? Good. That's funny joke. Thank you. Thank you for making the funny joke. If anything, the hurdles that Iran had to climb was also another aspect of this fucking corruption. And I called it out at the time. The shit that the Iranian team had to go through, whether it be the VAR decisions, whether it be their travel accommodations, like that is another byproduct of what Trump has done to the worldwide game, like the World Cup. The whole point of the fucking World Cup is that countries drop everything and engage in this beautiful sport together where everybody gets together and there's camaraderie, there's competition, and you put it all out on the fucking pitch. You leave it all out on the field. Donald Trump already started. Donald Trump already started by ruining that beautiful sport. What's interesting about the actions of the Trump administration is that there is a Hitler analog there, okay? And what's really interesting is Donald Trump is actually, on this issue and this issue alone, worse than Adolf Hitler. It's kind of crazy, but it's true. Like, he has no investment whatsoever in even the positive international benefits. No, literally. It's not even a joke. Adolf Hitler was, like, Nazi Germany was more open-minded, at least saw the benefits of, like, the international goodwill that they would receive from hosting a global event like this and allowed people to enter the country. There was no restrictions on like referees and shit. You know what I mean? In spite of their very clear agenda of racism. It's insane. Brother, good luck. Fuck tomorrow on Fox News. Good luck tomorrow on Fox News. I don't think you guys are understanding the point I'm making. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is like fucking worse than Adolf Hitler. I'm saying on this issue and this issue alone, even the fucking Nazis understood that this would, be a propaganda opportunity for them. Okay? Donald Trump completely cast that aside and was like, nope. Like that, the Somali referee not being allowed into the country was so unacceptable. In any case, Marco Rubio, when he's told he has to referee the World Cup match between USA and Belgium. Yeah. So, it's a strange time that we're in, where a lot of Americans probably will look to what Donald Trump did as like rank corruption, but they'll be like, well, it's for us. So maybe it's good. But if you care about the game, or if you care about like the American team is incredible this year, right? It's outperforming expectations in many respects. Like, this is a real opportunity as a host nation. There's a real opportunity for America to have a long-lasting positive impact. And Donald Trump had to fucking go in and destroy that opportunity by leaving the game intact. Right? Like, he had to go in and he had to molest it somehow. He's just such a fucking molester. Lester the molester ass motherfucker had to go in and cheapen it. He had to go in and do the Trump thing. He had to make sure that people had issues coming into the country. He had to make sure that, there was definitely a decent amount of racism involved in the decision-making process. And then he had to turn around and molest the game. Unfortunately, it turned Uncle Jank into a Trumper. Yeah, I don't play that game. I don't play the, we're the United States of America, baby, let's go. Like, we live on this planet with other people. We have to be more courteous to them. We have to keep certain things intact, okay? Disagreeing with the decision on the red card is one thing. Directly calling the president of FIFA and reversing the suspension is an entirely separate set of events. You can't do that. It's only going to cause more enmity. I don't like it. Yeah, I mean, this is Jank and everybody else that saw this. Okay, and they said this.
It's not bad. Corruption is only bad if I'm not involved.
Yes.
But if I'm part of that corruption, I'll defend it.
Yeah. America's finally a football nation. It's time to drop the soccer moniker. It's time to call it football. We are officially a footy nation, though. Okay? Engaging in this level of fucking flagrant corruption for footy-related reasons is the most fucking football thing you can do. It's coming home, lads. It's coming home, lads. That's right. Football's coming home. And I'm not talking about England, brother. I'm talking about Alabama. Football is coming home. That's right. We don't even care about it. We got a different name for it. We call it soccer around these parts, but it's coming home to South Dakota. Football's coming home, brother. Roll Tide. War Eagle. Go Birds! And by that, I mean MLS. We're not talking about no goddamn NFL. We're talking about MLS. Or now, MLF. Major League Football. Yeah. No 3 lines on the crest. 3 Eagles, brother. Let me put you on game. It would be Alabama, not Alabama. Okay, true. Yeah, Birmingham, not Birmingham. Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah. American liberals have become so used to Trump that they think that they forget that the rest of the world still rightfully views these sorts of controversies as disqualifying of whatever he touches. Yeah. Belgium has a right to be mad, I guess, but it's also kind of funny how tilted they are. The United States has won one round of 16 game in its entire history. Play some soccer, boys. Yeah. I don't like this is the funniest part about it is that like we've completely capitulated to Donald Trump's madness, right? Here in the United States of America. But for the rest of the world's perspective, they looked at this and go, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know what I mean? But it is really funny because like we obviously don't care. That's like at the heart of American exceptionalism. We don't care what other countries think. We do whatever the fuck we want. And there's nothing you can say about it. There's nothing you can do about it, right? And that's where we're at. Those are the rules now. Turkey levels of corruption, we're used to it by now. Yeah. I mean, the question always is what happens? Look. The question always is what happens if the Fourth Reich is a nuclear armed state that happens to be the most domineering force around the planet? What happens if the Turkification sets in the most powerful nation on the planet? That's not a good place to be. Okay? It's not a good place to be. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay? Because at least there was some level of parity in the pre-nuclearized world, right? Like before mutual assured destruction, before nuclear proliferation, there's some level of parity at least, right? There, you can muster up the forces and fight back. That's what World War II was about, right? What do you do when the most powerful nation on the planet has nuclear arms and decides to become just as corrupt and as ruthless and as tyrannical as countries of the past? What do? How do you fight back against that? And what is our responsibility as American citizens to move away from this attitude? It's important to think about these things, okay? Simply sitting around and hoping that China save us is insane. That's not how that works. Last point I'm going to make on football is Mbappe was a victim to racialized animus, this time from a senator in Paraguay. He responds, "Madame Celeste Amarilla, you are a despicable woman and unworthy of your position. You do not represent Paraguay, that country which has sweated passion and honor through the competition. Through your recklessness and brazen racism, the entire world has already forgotten the journey and the historic effort that your players accomplished during this World Cup, making way for an incompetent woman who gives the worst possible image of her country. I will never allow people like her the freedom to spread their hatred and racism across the world." The dictator has spoken. Probably one of the first occasions when the corruption wasn't just "we'll give you some money," and instead was "we will ruin the rest of the tournament for everyone." Yeah, we will call in the question the integrity of the game, not the organization, but of the game. This is the type of shit that obviously, people speculate about all the time, right? Like this is what you say. Oh, it's scripted. Oh, powerful countries, or powerful countries with big market teams or big countries that have a lot of money want to make sure that their teams have staying power because that means more purchases. That means more money for the overall organization. This is something that people fucking talk about all the time. And now Donald Trump has basically done away with the speculation because he's done it. And not only did he did it, I can't even talk. Not only did he do it, he flexed on the world. He did it, and then he openly said he did it.
A stunning World Cup reversal in favor of the U.S. men's national team. Leading scorer Folarin Balogun ruled eligible to play for the United States in their round of 16 game against Belgium tonight. Balogun was sent off with a red card for this tackle early in the second half of the team's round of 32 win over Bosnia and Herzegovina. The red card means an automatic suspension for the following game. FIFA had confirmed that Balogun would be out against Belgium and that there was no way to appeal the ruling. Following the controversial call, Balogun saying the contact was unintentional and that he accepted the decision.
There was many emotions, but for me the most important thing was just trying to stay calm. I think I didn't want to react out of emotion, out of anger, and I had to just accept that the decision was made, whether I agreed with it or not.
But suddenly on Sunday, news that Balogun was in. ABC News sources confirming reports that President Trump had called FIFA President Gianni Infantino to review the matter.
He doesn't sound very American. Okay, calm down, everybody.
President Trump posting online Sunday, "Thank you to FIFA for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice." In justifying the about-face, FIFA citing Article 27 of its disciplinary code, saying the implementation of the match suspension is suspended for a probationary period of 1 year.
That's really funny, by the way. Yeah, like in a year we'll think about it, but like, oh, it's cool. You'll suspend him a year from now. Balogun should refuse to play. That's not going to happen. Don't be insane.
FIFA's not admitting they made a mistake. They're not admitting that the referee on the field made a mistake and gave the player a red card when it shouldn't have been a red card. The red card hasn't been rescinded. What's going on here is they're suspending the suspension.
The United States' next opponent issuing a statement. The Belgian Soccer Federation saying that it was astonished by FIFA's decision.
Dude, Jordan Henderson's arm break, I'm not going to watch it because it also destroyed my brain. But it was I'm sorry, that's sad, but also kind of funny. Like, dude, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? You jumped over the banner and you fell on your arm and you broke your fucking arm? How is that possible? Clean snap. I saw that shit. I don't want to watch it again.
Belgium's coach mocking the decision, saying, "I didn't know that at the World Cup, the 5th of July is actually the 1st of April. Upon learning the news, Balogun celebrating with his teammates.
We're really excited. He's been so good for us this tournament.
Overnight, U.S. team captain Tim Reams speaking to GMA.
I think he's just excited.
The Plattner story is fucked if it's true. Why do people know what the Plattner story is? What's going on? I'm so confused. Like there's a lot of like vague posting on the timeline. Bad Empanada tweeted about it. What? Bad Empanada? Dog, what the fuck is happening? It was Gremlo talking about this morning. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what it is. And so I have no idea. It's a bunch of vague posting. I mean, there's a Politico drop that just came out from Adam Wren, who says that there's a sexual assault allegation now. We'll get to it. So maybe that's what people are talking about. I don't know. There are rumors that he sexually assaulted an Iraqi child while deployed. Yeah, that sounds. I saw, if it's coming from where I saw initially, there was some guy who was like former platoon guy who was like, that's a thing that happened. I don't know if that's real. You know what I mean? You don't report allegations like this without talking to the person making the allegation. You know the allegation, report it, Ryan. The Platinum campaign canceled events over the weekend and has since canceled more. As word swirls among consultants, super PACs, and lawmakers, a very damaging allegation is coming as early as this afternoon. At what point is there just smear fatigue? I mean, I don't know. Is it a smear or is it real? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Again, ironically enough, there are a lot of liberals. Ironically enough, there are a lot of liberals on the timeline who yesterday were saying Abdul Al-Sayed is bad because he hangs out with Hassan. Graham Plattner is good because he doesn't hang out with Hassan. And there's truth to that. I have no connection to the Plattner campaign. I have no idea what they're up to. I have no understanding of what has taken place thus far. So the liberals might have actually unironically locked themselves into a weird bind. But we don't know. We don't have any information. What I do know is what I've seen thus far. And what I've seen thus far has been, great exaggerations. This might be real, though, right? This might be totally real. This might be totally valid. But in this circumstance, the Graham Plattner situation, yeah, this was the ridiculous one. This was the ridiculous one. This is, yeah, dude. That is totally ridiculous. Oh, they would go into like an Iraqi home or something, and Yeah, that seems like a Israeli disinfo campaign that isn't that doesn't have any legs whatsoever. You know what I mean? But if there's a more serious accusation, we'll look at it. If he does drop out, could another Democrat run? I think it's literally the reason why they're doing it. The reason why this push is coming right now, the timing of it, whether it's real, whether it's because I don't know anything yet. Yeah, for context, that guy's previous claim to fame is pushing that Biden admin was trafficking kids from Ukraine. I know that guy's insane. I'm not saying that allegation is insane. That one is bullshit. Politico has dropped something. We'll take a look at it, but the timing of it is somewhat interesting because the dropout date for Graham Plattner is July 13th, I believe, right? So if Graham Plattner drops out before July 13th, they could just hand select another candidate. They could hand select another candidate and put another candidate in his stead. 15th is reporting for funding. And I do find it very odd. Now, it could very well be an instance where people were like some Democratic consultants knew about it and they were, waiting to see if they should drop this at all, given that it's a damning accusation, right? So we'll read it, we'll look into it, and far better investigative reporters than my commentary ass will identify the veracity of the claims. Having said that, let's finish this Balogun thing, and then we'll get to it.
That he can actually contribute on the field and not just be a cheerleader. But Balo's, he's got a big smile, and he's been beaming ear to ear, since we all found out the news.
And the European Football Association, of which Belgium is a member, put out a statement this morning saying, part in quote, "We express our disbelief at such an unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable decision." And for their part, U.S. Soccer saying, quote, "We accept the decision of the disciplinary committee, and we are pleased that Folarin Balogun is eligible to compete tomorrow." This has happened once before in 1962. A Brazilian player named Garrincha was reinstated. But this is really, we haven't really seen this before.
Yeah,
1962.
the suspension.
Exactly.
All right, Will, thank you.
He's playing.
It's also crazy because Trump literally earlier today came out,
Mr. President,
and very publicly took ownership over it. Okay, so there's no element of secrecy here. There's no like people don't know if this is real or not. Or what am I saying? People know that this is real. Like, this is something that Trump did. Okay, and it's insane that he is he's openly flaunting it. Okay, I'm sorry. This is not normal. Okay, remember when I said there is no country on the planet where the leadership is this out and about with their corruption? Like, I'm Turkish. Okay, I'm Turkish. I'm a Turkish man. I've seen Erdogan. I've seen what he has done. Oh, by the way, Turkey is at the table again. Ankara is at the table. Ankara is the table. There's a NATO summit happening in Turkey. Trump is going to it. We'll get to that in a little bit. But what I was going to say about Turkey is Erdogan is an unbelievably corrupt tyrant. Okay? So is Vladimir Putin, right? He oversees this kleptocracy. But there is a level of discretion that these tin pot dictators and petty tyrants engage in, where there is money exchanging hands, and it filters to their family members, but they don't do it so they don't do it so openly, so flagrantly. Donald Trump has done away with that, where what's unique about it is he doesn't even feel the need to hide his corruption. He doesn't feel the need to hide his corruption at all. And I find that so strange because, look, as Americans, we fancy ourselves to be real revolutionaries, carrying on the spirit of 1776. But it's not a secret that in most circumstances, we're very servile. Let's be real. We've taken a lot of pain and a lot of punishment and a lot of inconsistency, inequality, a lot of injustice, and we find ways to adapt to it. We find ways to say this is normal. This is normal. It's fine. No alternative is good. The alternatives are terrifying and far worse, right? I'm not talking about Donald Trump openly abusing FIFA right now. I'm talking about something beyond that. I'm talking specifically about his open corruption with his cryptocurrency fund, with his insider trading. It is very interesting to see how the rest of the world views what Trump is doing versus how Americans view it, where they're like, this is our molester. But at least this time, I thought your analysis was much more careful when Biden was president. Does it make your job harder? Like, you can only do so much analysis when everything is so blatant and out in the open? Wait, what? No, I mean, there is probably a lot easier for me to explain it to people because it's undeniable. He just says it like it is, good or bad. Like, there is a continuation of American imperialism, for example, from the Biden administration, and Trump 1 to Biden to Trump 2, a continuation that existed between George W. Bush to Barack Obama before Trump 1. It was a lot harder to explain certain concepts to Americans and the rest of the world back then because there was an element of discretion. There was an element of propaganda. There was an element of decorum that sheltered people from seeing the truth. That's gone. Donald Trump just says it. He'll be like, I'm going to Venezuela because I want the oil. I'm going to suck the oil out of the world. Okay? That's why I'm doing it. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm doing a blockade on Cuba because I want to punish the Cuban people because their economy is bad. Okay? That is unique. That is new, right? Guys, I'm going to talk about Graham Plattner in a second. Okay? It just dropped. It just dropped a minute ago. Please, we'll go through it. Can I just finish my thought? Jesus Christ. Everyone is like, dude, you have to fucking get it on the Graham Plattner shit right now. I will. Be still. Feed the baby now. Goo goo gaga. Baby need new information. Baby need breaking news. Holy shit. Anyway. This level of ownership, this level of taking ownership over the flagrant corruption is not going to be received positively by the rest of the world, I think. And it shouldn't.
And I want to congratulate you on your historic leadership.
I gotta pee.
The document hanging on that wall just turned 250 years old, as did the nation that it created. And the bell that you just rang on the Resolute desk, I believe, heralds in that the next 250 years will be even greater than the first 250.
You mean the bell that I'm not giving back?
I am not giving back. I think everyone knew you were going to keep the bell. And on behalf of all Americans, thank you for getting rid of that ridiculous red card. This is his. That was interesting. It was spectacular. There was a reason the FIFA trophy sat here for as long as it did.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.
I wanted to ask you, can you describe your phone call with Gianni Infantino about the red card? And Belgium is appealing the decision. What's your reaction?
You're asking me about the whole soccer thing? So, yeah, I did. I spoke to Gianni, who's highly respected, who's produced the most successful World Cup in history by, they say, 4 times. This isn't just a success. I actually said, Johnny, we've got all these games. Each one is turning out to be a Super Bowl. And we have all these games. You know, when you think of it, every game is like a Super Bowl. Yes, I watched last night. What a game that was with Mexico and England. I mean, 2 countries, I don't know the players. Although I think Kane is a great player. See, I played golf with him, and I like him a lot. He's a good golfer, but he's really great. But I watched, and no reason for me to watch, and you couldn't take your eyes off the game. Because I said, Johnny, you know, you have all these games, because they added games, in a country where really it's not our main sport, to put it mildly.
He's a great golfer.
4 times more successful. He told me last night the numbers are 4 times greater. They think 50 or 60 million people are going to be watching the game.
Yeah, when it's trans women in sports, it's unfair. When it's a boss call for a favor, it's all good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Integrity.
Game tonight. I mean, you know, this is getting to be Super Bowl numbers. But you have a game tonight, and they think they're projecting a minimum of 50 million people watching a game. We call it soccer. It's called football, I guess, but we can't really call it football because it gets there's a little confusion. So yeah, you call it soccer. We're the only ones that do that, but we have football, and football's great. But I've never seen anything like it. So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports and was a good athlete, and I understand sports really well, really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was 2 guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot when you're going. No, these were 2 great athletes that got tangled up, and this referee, who is a little bit suspect.
Hamas! The referee was Hamas. Did you see the Platter allegations? They're fucking bad. No, I haven't seen them yet. I'm currently covering the Donald Trump molesting international football. No, I know. Oh my God, Michael from Pennsylvania. Yes, I have it right here. I have it. We're gonna get to it in a second. Once we're done with this story.
If you check his past, I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You love creating controversy. What do you mean? He's I don't like to just create controversy, but very checkered past. They're saying the referee was Joe Biden. I'll say it. Joe Biden was the referee of this beautiful sport. Biden appointee.
But very suspect. If you'd like, I'll provide you with the past. He made a call that nobody could believe. You know, even people on the other side, they say, oh, we got lucky. Wow, and it's very interesting. They say they don't show them in slow motion. And I never realized that. I never heard of that before. That they're not allowed to review in slow motion because it's so different. Because you'll take one little quarter of a second and you'll see that a hand is touching a neck or you'll see something. Whereas when you see it in fast motion, it will look like 2 guys collided, which is really what happened. They got sort of entangled. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to...
Dude, has this ever happened? Like, it's kind of... Dude, this is literally like shit that you read in history books. I know the stakes are technically lower because it's like, okay, at the end of the day, we're talking about a soccer game, right? But like, this is straight up like a king. This is what you read in history books about how a king would be like, well, I don't like the outcome of this jousting event, so I declare the victor someone else. Like literally, that's... No, 1962 is not a decent comparison because like you're talking about money being exchanged in private. The difference here is Trump is going on the main stage and saying like, yeah, I made a fucking call. What are you going to do about it? Do you see what I mean? This is literally like a Roman dictator coming out and just being like, you know what? I've decided you didn't win. The gladiator didn't win. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not the corruption that is unique, even though the type of corruption is unique. But what's also unique is the public nature of it, where he is not just being corrupt, but he's also celebrating it. He's flaunting it. You know what I mean? Very, very strange.
Another player, it would have been unfair, but when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game, but how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So, yes, I asked for a review by FIFA. I spoke to a man who's highly respected, and by the way, whose level of respect has gone up tenfold. And he was good before this started, but he really pushed it in this country. I'm the one that got them to do it. It was not Biden. Biden was asleep. I got him to do it. In fact, it was very sad because I got him to do it. And if the progression was normal, I would have been retired now. The Democrats are saying, man, we should have just let him have his way. We would have had him gone. But I said, the saddest thing is I got the Olympics and I got the World Cup.
Biden would have never made the call. He doesn't even know. He's got a rotary phone. Doesn't have Infantino's phone number like I do.
I tried to claim 250 years too, but that didn't work. They said, that one is what it is. No, I tried, but it didn't work. But wait. So I got him. I was so proud of it. And then I realized, I wouldn't be president during that because I would have been out of office by that time. I felt badly. The beautiful thing about what I did is I ran. I never thought of it. And then all of a sudden I realized, I just got the Olympics, and I totally got that myself. And I just got FIFA. I got that myself. We gave a little piece to Canada, gave a little piece to Mexico. I got that myself. And a lot of people helped, like that man right there, Kevin. A lot of people, you know that. We worked hard on that, and we got it. But what we didn't know is how successful it was going to be. I didn't know. I said, Johnny, is anyone going to show up? Because, we're not really, I think soccer's doing much better, but I couldn't imagine. If you would have said to any very smart of these, like people.
Guys, stop looking at Michael Dell's wife, okay? Just avoid looking at her, okay? Yes, I see it. I get it, okay? I know. Just avoid eye contact, please.
Like this, that the numbers they're doing now would be happening. They've never seen anything like it. Think of it. Take the most successful Olympics or the most successful FIFA, and you look at what's happened. You look at the numbers for this in the United States, just compared to FIFA, and it's numerous times more. It's not like 10% more, 2% more, 5% more, which is more expected. It's like 4 times more successful than anything they've ever done. In fact.
Okay. All right. I think we've covered this enough. I've given enough thought and opinion on this. It's totally ridiculous. It's understandable that people are frustrated by it. Marco Rubio then came out and said it was a bad decision. Like, I don't like this at all. I don't like that we're basically ruining we're basically ruining the integrity of a game that already has been tarnished. Its reputation has already been fucking destroyed because of Infantino in new and unpredictable ways. Who knows what will happen? But at least in the past, the corruption was about certain countries being able to host FIFA games, right? This level of direct involvement has this level of direct involvement and the open nature of this direct involvement has, I don't think, ever happened before. And it's not a good look. I don't know what else to say. People will say I hate America or whatever, and I should just like suck it up. But I do think that this kind of like American exceptionalism is a big part of the problem, right? It's a big part of the problem. It's annoying. It's annoying for the rest of the world. It's time to talk about Graham Plattner now because that's the top news story. For those of you who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Graham Plattner is this Bernie-crat candidate that came out of the gate swinging, anti-war, anti-Israel, pro-Medicare for all, but had a checkered past, right? A lot of red flags in his background, and he was doing phenomenally well against Janet Mills, the current governor of Maine. He defeated Janet Mills thoroughly, handily. Janet Mills dropped out, as a matter of fact, when the primaries took place. And here's the thing: a lot of establishment Democrats hate this guy, right? A lot of people in the pro-Israel side hate this guy. And in the past, he had been the recipient of a lot of attacks. Many of these attacks were somewhat silly. Some of them were unsubstantiated. And the criticisms that he should have received were obviously criticisms about his background, his investment into, his numerous tours and then going back into Blackwater, things like that. Those were red flags for me. The Nazi tattoo was a red flag for me. Those weren't red flags for the average American and certainly not the average Mainer. But then the New York Times came out with this reporting, right? The New York Times came out with this report, and they had said this is an unbelievable allegation that's about to come out. They highlighted the report as though there was a serious sexual assault allegation. And when the New York Times report came out, it turns out that was not the case, right? There was they looked at his background. They interviewed 7 of Graham Plattner's former partners. Most of them actually had nothing but nice, kind words to say about him. And 2, one of the 2 said that there was one moment that she did not feel great about, and then the other was a Republican operative that said Graham Plattner had done the classic male manipulator, domestic abuser moment, the risk control, right? This article seemingly is bad. This article seemingly is different, okay? There's a Politico article out. Now, I don't know how the New York Times missed this. I don't know how the New York Times did not get this information. By no means am I defending Plattner, but American voters' cognitive dissonance about voting for rapists is frustrating, a.k.a. Trump's fine, but for Mainers, but Plattner is not. It should always be a disqualifier across the board. Yes. And Politico piece, I assume we'll get into it, but we'll look at it now, right? Plattner also immediately, because of the severity of the allegations, it seems that they were ready for the Plattner camp actually canceled a bunch of events. I think they said the wife was sick or something. I don't know. So let's take a look at the latest Graham Plattner. New York Times knew this, but the conversation was off the record. Okay. Woman who dated Graham Plattner says he sexually assaulted her. The Maine Democrat denied the allegations and said any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue. A woman who dated Maine U.S. Senate candidate Graham Plattner says he forced her to have sex with him nearly 5 years ago, despite her repeated objections, an allegation Plattner denies. The woman, a 41-year-old Maine resident named Jenny Rassicott, detailed the alleged incident to Politico in 3 interviews over the past 2 weeks. Politico also spoke with a man Rassicott dated and confided in the years after the alleged incident, and reviewed documents, including emails between Rassicott and her therapist and messages between Rassicott and acquaintance. That is curtains. Okay. Mossad paid her ass? No. That is the trifecta. Okay. That is the trifecta of a reliable allegation. That's holy shit. Okay. personal firsthand testimony to a friend, a close confidant, back from way before Graham Plattner ever fucking ran for Congress. Are you kidding me? And then also direct testimony from a therapist. That is very different. Very different from a Republican operative coming out and being like, oh yeah, I had a touch and go moment with Graham Plattner. I wouldn't even say he like physically abused me or anything. That's very different. There is not direct testimony from a therapist. No, sorry. Emails between Rasicot and her therapist, okay? Emails that are dated. That seems a little bit different than previous statements and previous things that were talked, previous discussions around Graham Plattner's misconduct or alleged misconduct. Okay? What I don't understand is why the New York Times didn't report it, but apparently the Politico article gets into that. So we'll take a look at it. So, reviewed documents including emails between Rasicot and her therapist and messages between Rasicot and an acquaintance whom she warned against getting involved with Plattner years before he ran for office. Rasicot says she had an on and off relationship with Plattner, who is now the Democratic Senate nominee in Maine, for more than 2 years before he entered her rural Maine home uninvited one night, in late 2021, deeply intoxicated, and forced himself on her while she repeatedly told him to stop. She said she cut off contact with him. So this is one of the two. Rasicot is the other. New York Times, if you recall, interviewed 7 former girlfriends of Graham Plattner. There was one that said she had a bad moment with Graham Plattner. This, I think, expands on what that bad moment was with a very significant allegation. Trigger warning. I will be reading out depictions of sexual assault from this point on. She said she cut off contact with him after telling him the encounter was not consensual. I remember him grabbing my pelvis and being really forceful of me, she said. I remember the specific moment where I thought to myself, like, this is no longer my choice. Plattner denied the allegations. These allegations are troubling, serious, and false. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue, he said in a statement. Rasicot previously described reckless and unsettling behavior by Plattner to the New York Times, but she says she didn't go public with the specific assault claim because she didn't want to be known as a rape victim. Rasicot said she later felt compelled to go public about her experience because the reaction to the Times story was dominated by controversy about another woman, Lindsay Fifield, who alleged Plattner mistreated her and faced attacks because of her ties to the Republican Party. Contacted by Politico, Fifield stood by the allegations she made to the Times and declined to comment further. My part of the story was just a read-over, Rasicot said in an interview, and the story was just Lindsay and the accusations of her being politically motivated. Rasicot said she was torn over coming forward in part because she agrees with Plattner politically. One of the reasons I didn't come forward sooner was the huge moral conflict that I had between supporting his politics but not supporting him as a person, she said. I just want the truth out there. I just want people to have the whole scope of who he is as a person. In a statement, the Plattner campaign reiterated his denial and accuses critics of trying to drive him out of the race. These allegations are very serious, and Graham vigorously denies them. They are also coached and coordinated by out-of-state establishment operatives. For a year, opponents of this campaign have thrown everything they can at Graham, calling him a Nazi, a war criminal, and a communist. None of it has been true, and this is no different. It is not a coincidence that this story comes a week before the ballot deadline, just as the previous false allegations came a week before the primary. Graham began this campaign to fight for a Maine where everyone is treated with dignity and where Mainers are put first, and no amount of desperate smears will stop this movement from seeing that vision through. What do you mean audio? What's wrong with the audio? Plattner, an oysterman and political newcomer when he launched his Senate campaign last August, easily won the Democratic primary last month to face GOP Senator Susan Collins in one of the nation's most highly watched Senate races. His remarkable rise has been tainted by controversies including offensive online comments and allegations of past mistreatment of women. He has not previously been accused of sexual assault. So here's the thing. Okay? Here's the thing. This is a serious accusation of the highest order, and it has all of the hallmarks of a verifiable accusation. Okay? conversations in the past, far before Graham Plattner came on the scene as a political operative, is a fairly reliable way to verify these accusations. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Okay? Like, as you guys know, my policy on this is, believe women doesn't mean reflexively assume that all women are incapable of telling a lie or anything. It just means, like, don't reflexively disbelieve women, right? And contemporaneous communications is huge, especially if they are before he was in politics. Exactly. Central Committee is correct on this. It's a huge part of this. Okay. I assume that they will explain as to why the New York Times didn't get into this, but here's the other side of the story. Okay. I believe this accusation. I believe this allegation. Let me just make that very clear, especially because, once again, there are other friends with correspondence from before Graham Plattner became a known entity, right? That's very important because you're not actively seeking to rat fuck a person if that person is not a political operative at all, right? Like, that's a random oyster fisherman. Okay? It's a random oyster fisherman at that point in fucking Maine. The timing of this, on the other hand, is, once again, fucked up. The timing of the drop is in the column of rat fucking, but the accusations are certainly real. Okay? Do with that information what you will, but the accusations, they are as credible as it is going to get. Okay? Unless the correspondence between Rassicot and her friend is not from back then, or the other partner that Rassicot had, which I have no reason to believe that that's the case, for the record. Okay? It still ultimately lends itself to a verifiable and credible accusation. Both the therapist and the friend refused to comment. This needs receipts. So let's continue. Is this rat fucking if they're giving him time to drop out, I guess? Well, we'll get into that in a second. The Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran has linked some of his behavior to mental health struggles and alcohol abuse, but he says he's changed and has denied previous claims that he was abusive to women. Rassicot told Politico she connected with Plattner on the dating app Bumble in 2019 and had consensual relations with him prior to the night he allegedly assaulted her. That night in late 2021, she said she had exchanged text messages with him and told him not to come over, saying she wasn't in the mood for company. Later that evening, she said she realized when he heard a sound on the stairs that he had let himself into her house, which was unlocked. Plattner came up the stairs, Rassicot said, to where she was on a couch. He got on top of her, kept grabbing her, she said, while she repeatedly told him to stop and that she wasn't interested. Rassicot said she smelled of alcohol in his breath and believed he was almost blackout drunk because Plattner kept ignoring her protests and continued to grab her after knocking over an antique sewing kit, spilling small needles everywhere. I'd been telling him these words, no, don't, she recalled. And the look on his face, realizing what was happening, I just realized that, like, I'm in a situation where there's no consent here, she said. Rassicot said she tried to separate herself from Plattner by telling him she couldn't be in that room anymore, after which he followed her to the bedroom and had sex with her against her will. She said she said he also ejaculated inside of her despite her telling him not to, as she was not using birth control at the time. Oof. Oh, that's brutal. She went to clean herself up, she said, and when she returned, Plattner had fallen asleep. She contemplated waking him up to kick him out, but worried he could hurt someone driving in the state that he was in. The following morning, she said, Plattner tried to put his arm around her, and she pushed him away. She said she asked him whether he remembered what had happened the previous night. According to Rassicot, Plattner said he didn't remember. Rassicot said she told him to leave and never contact her again. Rassicot said she waited several weeks until she got her period to ensure she wasn't pregnant, then sent Plattner a private message on Instagram saying that the encounter was not consensual and she did not want to hear from him ever again. Rascott had no further contact with him after that, she said. Rascott said she later deleted all of her text and social media correspondence with Plattner as she tried to move on from the assault, and said she has not been able to recover the Instagram messages she sent him about the incident. In the weeks after the alleged assault, Rascott says she considered going to the police but struggled with shock and confusion about what had happened to her and did not file a police report. Even as time passed, she said she felt uncomfortable potentially telling a police officer about such a personal experience and feared retaliation from Plattner. At first, she confided only in her therapist, who she continues to see. Rascott showed Politico recent emails with her therapist in which Rascott explained she was talking to the media about her relationship with Plattner and said the sexual assault rape using an abbreviation for sexual assault. In the message, Rascott was not ready to go public and was seeking help corroborating her account in conversations she was having with the reporters on condition of anonymity. Her therapist responded that Rascott shouldn't have to speak publicly about a traumatic incident in order to be believed, without referencing details of any particular incident. Rasico, the T is silent. Rasico, okay. Yeah, not seeking, not going to the police is perfectly normal in situations like this, for the record, just so you guys understand. So they don't have, the therapist who Politico agreed not to name at her request declined to comment when reached on Monday. So, Rasco also shared details about the alleged assault to the man she dated after Plattner, who she began dating in 2022. The man, who was granted anonymity out of concern for his personal privacy, told Politico that Rasco had told him in bits and pieces about a bad experience with Plattner before confiding the full details of what happened in 2023. His account of what Rasco told him about the incident matched what Rasco told Politico. Okay? Rasco shared with Politico a series of private Facebook messages she exchanged with an acquaintance in 2023, about a year and a half after the alleged assault and well before Plattner launched his political career, in which she cautioned the acquaintance against getting involved with Plattner. In the messages, Rasco says she had ended up in a bad situation with him, describing Plattner as a consensually careless and saying he doesn't listen to you when drunk. Reached out by Politico, the acquaintance said she received the messages but declined the comment. Politico granted her anonymity at her request to protect her privacy in her main community. What's his deal? Should I not fix him up with my friend, assuming he's single? He can be charming and funny, and he's a decently intelligent person, but he's not all bad. But I ended up in a bad situation with him, and I will just very politely call him consensually careless at times. When drunk, plus PTSD. I knew about the PTSD. He lies also. Forces himself on people. Wait, what? That's the cutoff? There's more. Click the arrow. Oh. No, this is the earlier. I saw your post about oysters the other day. I feel morally obligated to warn you if you were anything more than just friends with Graham. But if you're not, then I'll just shut up for now and give you the scoop sometime, lol. Just friends. Would love the scoop, though. Is he still engaged? I was working on fixing on a friend. Oh, I have no idea. With who? Oh, a girl. I think her name is Jen from like the Rockland area. I don't know. I haven't heard of anyone. He was as of last summer that I know of, but also my timeline's a little sketch. So maybe it was the summer before. But either way, they've been on and off. But then I was told they got engaged. Yeah, COVID totally messed up my timeline for everything. What's his deal? Should I not fix him up with my friend, assuming he's single? He lies also. Okay, so here is they were out of order. I don't know why the fuck Politico put it out of order like this. God damn it. Bunch of fucking boomers, I guess. Forced himself on people. One thing that grossed me out after him and I had dated was that I saw his profile on OkCupid, and that site asked a lot of questions. And one of the questions was, if your partner told you they had over 100 sexual partners, what would your response be? And his response was, that's not that many. So that super grossed me out, thinking he's probably slept with a ton of people. Doesn't listen to you when drunk, ... Yeah. So that's corroboration. That's backing up her, previous assessment. But I don't know what she says. I don't know what the other lady says after this. And then I don't know what her response is afterwards. But Politico also spoke with a friend Resco had told about the alleged assault last summer, shortly after Plattner launched his campaign. The friend, to whom Politico granted anonymity due to fear of social and professional backlash, recalled Resco telling her about the incident, including that Plattner had been very drunk and wouldn't take no for an answer. Resco said she was contacted by the New York Times in the spring and shared off the record that Plattner had assaulted her. She told the Times that she had some positive memories of her relationship with Plattner, but thought he did not respect women and had cut off contact with him after an incident in 2021 when Plattner had come over drunk. But the Times article stated that Resco declined to elaborate about what had happened, only describing his behavior as reckless and unsettling. A spokesperson for the Times declined to comment. After the publication of the Times report, Resco connected with Cheyenne Hunt, a progressive Democratic lawyer who founded the nonprofit Reckoning Action, which launched earlier this year to fight misogyny. Hunt, who had endorsed Plattner last fall but renounced her support for him after the Times article. So I remember this. This is the random lady who was like this is the random lady who came out and was like, I hate Graham Plattner and stuff like that. And I initially thought that it was because of some potential foreign intervention. It turns out it was because of this story. Hunt, who had endorsed Plattner last fall, renounced her support for him after the Times article, previously supported women who came forward with assault allegations against former Representative Eric Swalwell earlier this year, prompting him to drop out of the California gubernatorial primary and resign from Congress. NBC News previously reported that Hunt was working with multiple women who had past relationships with Plattner. Hunt connected Politico to Rasico. Reckoning Action exists to confront misogyny in American life in all forms and manifestations, including in bad actors being elected to positions of power, Hunt said. We became aware of the allegations before ever being connected with Jenny and have been in contact with multiple women with really troubling allegations, and it just became clear that this is someone who is not fit to hold public office. After the Times report last month, Plattner had said that allegations of physical misconduct were simply not true, and his allies seized on Fifield's conservative political affiliations to suggest that her allegations against him in the Times were motivated by politics. I still stand by what I said about Fifield, by the way, especially considering that she spent a good deal of time not just like being a Republican operative, but specifically defending Brett Kavanaugh against those very real allegations. Brett Kavanaugh then also turned around and literally denied women bodily autonomy. Like, hundreds of millions of women on U.S. soil were impacted by Brett Kavanaugh's lies. So I will once again stand by my previous statements on that story. This is a different situation, I think. Like, here's the thing. This is as airtight as it's going to get as far as allegations goes, right? As far as allegations goes, this is fairly airtight, okay? And it's not even because if you remember, I said this about Fifield as well. If you recall in my commentary on the Fifield allegations, I said if there was corroboration at the time from friends of Lindsay Fifield, it wouldn't matter whether or not she was a Republican operative, right? If you recall, that's what I said. This seems to me like there is corroboration. Now, the only thing that would be potentially, the only thing that would be in defense of Graham Plattner here, which is, it seems, the allegations that seem super credible and indefensible, would be if there was if there was any sort of financial entanglement between a friend, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, it's very, very unlikely. You know what I mean? Just so you guys understand. And the reason why I'm taking this position is to show you that there is a lot of veracity to these claims. Like even in the most heavily scrutinized version of events, in order for this allegation to be untrue, would only happen if this experience is real and she felt uncomfortable by this experience, understandably, because this is, clear-cut date rape under the influence of alcohol, right? But she previously she felt conflicted about it, maybe confided in her friends, maybe confided in her therapist, worked through it, and then after the fact, and breaking and entering as well, which is, not the main point here, obviously, the violation of consent of someone's, bodily autonomy in the process of a date rape is probably, it's a breaking and entering is also another violation of consent, but nowhere near as significant as rape. For this to be untrue, she would have had to been slandering him in 2023 because no. This is much worse than the allegation that Fifield made. That's why I'm saying it's credible 100%, right? No, what I'm saying is like, I don't think it's disputed that Graham Plattner actually violated this person's consent. There's no dispute there at all. Okay? None. Because it's ridiculous, right? It would be totally fucking ridiculous. Bro, it's just rape, not date rape. I mean, date rape is rape, chatters. There's no distinction. I mean, it's just rape. It's violent sexual assault. So here's the thing. What I was trying to say is this definitely happened, right? For this to be something that she's like reconsidering, regardless of whether or not it happened, because that is not in dispute at all. But for her to like reconsider and then come out right now, the only thing that would tarnish the credibility of this the victim here would be if there was like any additional coaching or something, or if like outside groups came in and were like, hey, this is a serious allegation. You should definitely come out and speak on it. And even then that happens at times because it takes a lot of courage for victims to come out in instances where they're accusing someone of sexual assault, especially when the person that they're accusing of sexual assault is now running for Senate and is a fairly popular candidate, right? So no matter what, this seems very, very reliable. And it doesn't even matter if there's it doesn't even, like, there would need to literally be like money exchanged, okay? There would need to have been money exchanged literally by like an outside group or something for this to come across as any way, shape, or form, like a potential rat fucking operation, and not someone who is reconsidering the experiences that they went through and the very real allegations of sexual assault. Okay? Once again, I'm trying to give you the most critical lens here as someone who definitely believes Rasico's firsthand account here, especially because, like I said, contemporaneous conversations from back then with other people, especially before Graham Plattner became like a known political figure, it's consistent with true testimony. Okay? Anyway. Wow. Yeah, she even said she still agrees with his politics. Like, it's I mean, that doesn't even matter. Let's be real. Like, whether, guys, I need you to understand something, okay? From my perspective, I looked at Lindsay Fifield's testimony, and what did I tell you? Her politics are secondary in this, even though it was directly related to the Brett Kavanaugh situation and doing PR for Brett Kavanaugh, which obviously makes her a less credible accuser. However, the real reason, as I repeatedly told you back then, was that there was no contemporaneous conversations. There were no conversations that Lindsay Fifield had with her friends about Graham Plattner, beyond being like, oh yeah, he's a bit of a rough shot. He's a bit of a rough guy. There was never something as clear cut as Lindsay Fifield confiding in a friend, or confiding in a new partner, or going to therapy. Like there was no secondhand testimony that you could go to. And I said at the time, if there was, that would mean that this is a credible accusation regardless. If there was at the time a credible accusation, regardless of her, background as a political operative, that would be a credible accusation nonetheless. On MS Now last month, after the New York Times report, Plattner denied claims that he had physically mistreated women, anything alleging physicality, anything alleging that I knew my tattoo was. These are statements of someone who's politically motivated. He told MS Now, alluding to unrelated allegations about a tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol. Plattner had the tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol covered up last fall and said he had not known what the symbol meant. Rasico said she was bothered by Plattner's public denial that he had been physical towards women. I know that he's capable of putting his hands on women, she said, so I don't believe that to be the truth. So that's the Politico reporting. Now let's get to great suit. Your suit arc must be permanent, I think. Thank you. Not the point. Graham Plattner came out with a statement after this article came out.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built.
What is this? When did you / what made you change your stance on this after the news broke a few weeks ago, during which you downplayed it? Did you read the Politico article where the victim literally said she did not feel comfortable revealing the full extent of Graham Plattner's actions? You know, this is an entirely new article. This is the same victim with actual allegations. I did not yet. So why did you come in here with this assessment then? Are you okay? This new article came out an hour ago. This new article actually has like verifiable and very credible allegations of sexual assault. The previous article, which featured the same victim, did not have these allegations. And what's interesting about it is that the New York Times did not report on it. It was a choice that she had made. From what I understand, there's going to be a story beyond the choices that the media made. New York Times simply called it unsettling behavior. That was Rasico's statement on the record. Very different. Unsettling behavior can be a wide range of things. Lots of centrists blaming you today for Graham Plattner. Out of all of the crop of left populist candidates, Graham Plattner is the one left populist candidate that I have not done any campaigning with. It's the one left populist candidate that I have shown scrutiny towards at times. Incredible. Pills Mafia till the bitter end. Okay, I'm not going to joke right now. Anyway. Yeah, rape is just a tool for quote-unquote leftists to weaponize against the streamers they hate the most. Fuck these online losers. I know.
The largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics. The hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors and the supporters across the ideological spectrum. We were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So,
this might be an unfair question, but I would like to know what you think should be done if Plattner drops out and if there's still a road to go for Maine. I mean, I think it's fucking cooked. I think it's cooked. I think he probably will drop out, and I don't know what else to fucking say about it other than holy shit, Susan Collins. I mean, talk about a person that just This video is like 95% pablum, by the way, just so you know. Yeah, I mean, he fucking came out of the gate swinging with the denial. If Plattner drops out, his hardcore supporters will be insanely pissed and Collins will absolutely win. Any replacement will be seen as an establishment stooge. Yeah, if Plattner drops out, it has to be a fucking... It has to be a commie. Chris Rabb being skeptical when questioned about Plattner a few weeks ago is just so justified right now. AOC staying away from the Graham Plattner campaign comes across as, fairly... I mean, it just looks very different in hindsight. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of red flags that I also pointed to. This is beyond red flags, though. This is irredeemable. I said it even back then. I said it even before the New York Times report came out, where I said, like, look, if there's sexual assault, and it's over, it's fucking irredeemable. It's unacceptable. And it's true. It remains to be the case. Yeah, Washington Reporter exclusive. Graham Plattner to drop out of main Senate race, giving Democrats time to replace him is what they're looking for. Susan Collins, a supporter of the rapist POTUS, is going to win because the alternative is a rapist to our society is so incredibly fucked now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a clear cut. This is not like... This is not like any of the other allegations. This is not on shaky ground. This is as open and shut as it gets. Okay? Apologize to everyone who's been warning you about Graham Plattner from the beginning, you performative coward. Yeah, okay, dude.
Regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people.
I love when, you know what's funny? I love when people go, hey, this ginormous incident with significant accusations of sexual assault took place that's shaking up national news. How can I make this about my least favorite Twitch streamer? Are you okay? How are you any different than the fucking weirdo Epstein fans who literally saw October 7 and then watched as Israel started bombing Gaza, immediately killing more people than October 7, and went to work to be like, this is our opportunity to make sure that we compile every single thing that Hassan says so we can make this a national story later down the line. If you see, incidents taking place of national consequence and your first thought is, how do I make this about a fucking Twitch streamer? You're not going to make it. Shut the fuck up. You need help.
That I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power.
We're not making it about our least favorite Twitch streamer. We're asking for some accountability since you absolutely give positive coverage to this guy after knowing what he did in the Middle East. You're supposed to be on our side, but you run cover for people you know are war criminals, even though sexual assault is where you draw the line. I'm gonna move on from this. Okay? Please shut the fuck up. Please.
And to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated, and we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation.
Genuinely, he's saying that Plattner's entire defense of this is just nuh-uh. He's saying that there were a coordinated smear campaign and coaching, but if that was the case, he put that shit on the limelight yesterday, instead nothing. Yeah. Does your community seriously believe that being in the military means automatically you're a war criminal? No. But there are some in my community that does, definitely. There are definitely people on the left who automatically go, oh, you touched You touched a machine gun. You were in the American military. The American military is an imperialist force. You have done war crimes. It's understandable why people arrive at that conclusion, for the record, because many who do active duty combat, who see active duty combat, engage in things like that. My scrutiny of this, of Graham Plattner's background, came from his 4 tours plus Blackwater, but it wasn't enough for me to say, like, this is I'm pulling out of this. I wanted to, and made the effort to try to interview him specifically on that, and never got the opportunity to do so, for the record. They were very dodgy about, they were initially interested, but then when I offered my scrutiny very publicly, the campaign was somewhat dodgy about it, and I never got to actually ask him personally about some of these questions that I had. But if you recall, one of the things that I had said on a Pod Save America podcast was a comparison between Abdullah Syed and Graham Plattner. Let me see if I can find it. This was during the Pod Johns conference that I went to. And I think it's important to bring that up right now. What is it? It was Alex Wagner's podcast.
Hi, everyone. On election night last Tuesday,
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it from the transcript. Wait, how do you fucking look at the transcript? Oh, here.
I got to ask you, because we were talking about Nazis and the left and the right versus the left. But, like, do you have thoughts on Graham Plattner and his tattoo?
Oh, my God. I don't even know where to begin with that one. So, Graham Plattner is a very unique case, at least from my perspective, because he is a through and through Bernie-crat, right? Like, he is a Bernie hand-selected pick who was running for office, and right out of the gates, he was like, I'm anti-Israel. I don't think we should be giving weapons to Israel. I don't think we should be doing anything with Israel if they're going to continue doing a genocide, right? Like, and that was a unique position. And then on top of that, he was pro-Medicare for all and numerous other Bernie-style positions. And what was interesting to me about that whole saga is that in spite of him being, like, very obviously a grunt force, machine gunner for the Marines, which are sometimes known as crayon eaters for good reason, he went on. What the fuck is going on? Did I just get botted? What the fuck? Why the fuck is someone botting me right now? Holy shit. We went from 36K to 50K. Shore leaving Croatia and split and got the most obvious Nazi tattoo, the third most common Nazi symbol, a Totenkopf, on his chest. In spite of that, Maynard seemingly didn't care about that situation at all. And I think that's a really interesting moment in American politics for where the liberal base is moving.
Yeah.
Because for far too long, I think the organs that work alongside the Democratic Party that are like liberal adjacent or, left adjacent, whatever you want to call it, have often weaponized a version of identity against the left flank, right? While simultaneously telling their audiences that electability actually revolves around moderates. Moderate positions are how you win. Yeah. And this is actually a real battle that is still currently taking place within the Democratic Party. The Welcome Pack piece that came out, the Welcome Pack report that came out was, again, another version of this exact same thing. And I don't think liberals are responding to that electability argument, or rather, I think they think now, after failure from the moderates, especially the second failure against Donald Trump, again, an incompetent, monstrous fascist, they realize, like, no, maybe maybe the left flank, left populist position is the actual electability argument. And maybe we were deluded.
Well, but like, okay, so
they're giving a lot of grace to Graham Plattner is what I'm saying.
And I think Graham Plattner has handled it basically as well as you can, which is another model of how the left can understand people's flaws and how you can own the mistakes you made in life and how they made you who you are today and arguably a better person. But like, just like, as you say, one of the top 3 Nazi tattoos, like, is that not fucked up? Like, what?
No, I think it is.
I mean, what? So,
I think
like,
it's
are
not
liberals just becoming more okay with that? And like, is that a problem?
So
I don't know.
there's 2 things that I think about in that regard. I think that we'll see, because we saw it with Zoran Mamdani, right?
Yeah,
like,
and I want to talk to you about
a lot
Mamdani.
of liberals were very forgiving of like the faucet of misinformation and angry lines of attack that were completely, in my opinion, unjustifiable and outright racist at times. Like the notion that he is like a scary anti-Semite is honestly an incredibly permissible form of bigotry, like institutionally permissible form of bigotry. The assumption that like he's gonna be anti-Semitic, he's anti-Israel, he's Muslim. Come on, like, and these are very real fears. Like, we don't treat white supremacy in that same vein. Like, if someone were to say, as a white Christian, as many have, right? I think like desegregation is a real problem. I think that I don't want my children to live in a racial jungle. We would be like, okay, that's your problem. Like, you need to deal with that on your own. But in this circumstance, because, you know, Jews are also a marginalized identity in the United States of America, and there is a lot of historic violence towards Jewish people on the virtue of being Jewish, that there is this conversation that takes place where we place a lot of emphasis on whether or not there's this like broad majority of Jewish people that are truly terrified of Zoran Mamdani because he's seemingly or considered to be anti-Semitic. And I think that's genuinely a racist position to apply to someone like Zoran Mamdani. I think it's ridiculous. He's done nothing and said nothing that is even remotely anti-Semitic. And yet
he staked out a position on Gaza that is comports, that is not in favor of what Israel is doing, but that does not mean he is an anti-Semite.
And here, I'll give you an example. Sometimes I like to think about it as like, if Zoran was like a white Christian guy or a Jewish guy, and he was saying that, would these arguments stick?
Yeah.
Would there be this much? I mean, look at Graham Plattner. He's a fucking totem pov tattoo.
This is what I'm saying.
And even then, people are like not even making that argument, right?
Give him a pass.
So my point is like, that is institutionalized Islamophobia. There's a big part of it. I don't like to talk about it too much because it's like a lot of people tap out when they hear that and they're like, I don't want to hear this. Oh, whatever. Here we go again. But the reason why I'm saying it here is that like we shall see if the liberals are more forgiving of guys like Graham Plattner because he's a white dude and they think that is like the primary version of electability for liberals in general.
Yeah.
Or is it because he came out of the gate swinging with very leftist, like left flank policies, and that's the reason why they're forgiving of him. And I think the contest I'm paying close attention to is Abdul El-Sayed, a person who has none of the red flags whatsoever. Another person that basically has an infallible reputation and has actually more experience in politics as well. He's run for the governors. He failed to defeat. I think it was Whitmer that he failed to defeat on a Medicare for All campaign, and he is the real deal, right? And he's also another early Bernie pick. He's also anti-Zionist. We shall see if liberals are just as forgiving of a brown guy that is running on a very similar campaign to Graham Plattner
without the tattoo.
Yeah, without the Nazi tattoo, but he's a brown guy. Does that mean that it's like scarier? My point is a white dude with a Nazi tattoo.
I think we know the answer, don't we?
Well, I
think we know the answer.
No, I don't.
As a brown person, I think I know the answer.
No, I think that's defeatist, and that's I don't abide by that. I recognize that there's a hurdle, right? There's a hurdle. There's a higher threshold, but you can climb it, and you can make up for that higher threshold by instilling messaging discipline and then not stepping on any landmines to the best of your ability, and also just.
Are you proud of yourself for supporting an unrepentant mass murdering rapist? Did you just not watch
the video? Did you not hear the words that I literally, even back then,
focusing
said
on
over and over again. This is November 13th, 2025, before many of you knew even who Abdul El Sayed was, or were barely learning about Graham Plattner, where I say, look, this guy has a lot of red flags, okay? But liberals are seemingly very forgiving of his red flags. Is that because of the populist messaging, or is that because he's a grunt force guy who is, thinking like a woke but acting like a chud, walking like a chud, thinking like a woke? Turns out he wasn't just thinking like a woke either. He was also thinking like a chud. Yeah, this was during the height of the Plattner mania. The problem is people will now try to utilize the Graham Plattner allegations to imply that like all Bernie crats are this way. Okay? To imply that all Bernie crats are like this. Stop acting like you weren't falling for him too. I mean, I told you honestly and sincerely, given the information that was readily available at the time, that regardless of my scrutiny, that he was a far better candidate than Janet Mills, who was pro-Israel, and a far better candidate than Susan Collins. Okay? Which is true. What are we talking about? But there's an amount, and there's also verifiable information. Like, for example, if there was verifiable information from his time at Blackwater, where he opened fire on a civilian car or something, or if there was verifiable information from his time in combat, and it wasn't pure conjecture or pure speculation on what he may or may not have done, right? That would be an entirely different conversation that we're having, or would have been having at the time. Okay? The same goes for the previous New York Times reporting on him being from the same victim who, to the New York Times, said that it was unsettling versus verifiable allegations of rape. If new evidence presents itself, then I'm going to change my perspective. It's that simple. Is it possible we see Maine voters shrug it off like before? No. No, I don't think so. Especially because it comes with a faucet of red flags and heightened tensions from before. I don't think all of those previous allegations actually. I don't think those previous allegations actually make this situation less credible. I think it makes it more credible. It lends credence to the previous allegations all of a sudden, because this is not just a random accusation with no additional evidence. This is a clear-cut instance of verifiable sexual assault allegations. It's completely irredeemable. Plattner's source of strength was that people passionately committed to volunteer for him. On his campaign Discord, people are sharing their feelings of betrayal, heartbreak, and resignation. He has lost his base. It no longer seems like a question of whether he will drop out, but when, and whether his campaign, by virtue of an overwhelming primary win, will be able to influence who replaces him. I would go so far as to say that the timing of this is maybe not even potentially a rat fucking, but instead the timing of this is most likely so that there's an opportunity to swap out the candidate for the Democrats. Like, it lends even further credence to the fact that one of the accusers, the victim, Rasico, was someone who clearly is both wronged by Graham Plattner, but was conflicted on revealing this information because there was like this higher priority in her mind that while she wanted to warn people about him, at the same time was worried about both the impact that might have on her well-being, because when this happens, when things like this happen, obviously no one believes you. People attack you. Graham Plattner was a very popular person at this point, like a person that has a lot of followers and a lot of fans. They're all going to come after you. You're worried about that. And then there's an even larger weight on your shoulders where you feel like you are now like in control over the Democratic Senate majority. Like, think about that. Like, that's huge. If this is, because when you are talking about the Democratic Senate majority, you're talking about potentially millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Will the Democrats gain the Senate majority and be able to hold Trump accountable, be able to set up hurdles in front of Donald Trump? Like, that's a huge ordeal. That's why I was so critical of Jake Auchincloss for casting aside the Senate majority because he was worried about Graham Plattner's perspective on Israel. It was fucking ridiculous at the time, right? Because that's huge. There are plenty of people I despise, even in the Democratic Senate, that I would never cast a vote against in order to build a reliable coalition against Donald Trump, to hold Trump accountable, right? Adam Schiff. I voted for Adam Schiff. He's my senator. He's a freak. He loves Israel. Not a great Democrat at all. And I voted for him. Why? Because you have to have some level of accountability against this administration. It's just something that you do. You know? Being part of the military is a red line and war criminal of itself, as soldiers are actively part of the institution. The only way that can be supported is repented, and if they've renounced serving and advocate against it. Same with the IDF. Yeah. Okay, that's your standard. I have a different standard, okay? Like, no, being a part of the military is not a fucking red line, dude. And it's the same for IDF as well. I've already said this. It's entirely dependent on how you maneuver this landscape, okay? Yes, I get it, dude. You think everyone that's a part of the American military murdered children personally, directly. They ate the babies. I got it, okay? If we're having a conversation about the institution in and of itself, about anti-imperialism in and of itself, it's an entirely separate conversation. I hate having this back and forth with like 8 to 11 people that maintain this supposedly quote-unquote principled stance when we're having a conversation about fucking elections, okay? Please. This is a totally separate conversation. Okay? You're brilliant, you're morally righteous, you're pure. The best possible candidate is someone who, the best possible candidate is always and forever going to be an art history PhD that went and worked at Starbucks and has your background. Suspiciously is identical to your lived experience. We got it. Someone who has spent most of their time reading theory. It's no person who has ever been a part of the American military is ever redeemable. You got it. Thank you. IDF is crazy. You can't put purity politics, that shit. Yes, I can. And I have. I've literally interviewed people who have served in the IDF. Anti-Zionists. Now anti-Zionists. And you have too. You just don't know it, okay? If you've ever read, for example, any Israeli new historian, with the exception of Benny Morris, you have read the works of prominent anti-Zionists who served in the fucking Israeli occupying forces. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Please. I've never wavered on this principle that someone's past is only indicative of who they are as a person now if it corresponds to their current behavior. Okay? Norm served in the IDF? No, Norm is an American. He's not an Israeli. He's not a new historian. Anyway. Yes, Avi Shleim, Ofer Kasif, who then became a conscientious objector. Initially, I believe Ofer Kasif was a paratrooper. Became a conscientious objector who refused service. Avi Shleim is another Israeli historian who is a prominent anti-Zionist, a part of the new historians who uncovered. Take the 4K ring off your finger next time you read imperialism, you dog, says monastic servant. Which is the 4K ring? You're hallucinating. Again, if your first inclination is, how do I make this about a fucking Twitch streamer? You're a moron. I guess he's talking about the cock ring. Anyway, but yeah, the comparison here that I made was between Graham Plattner and Abdul Sayed all the way back in November 2025, where I, had my skepticism, my scrutiny, and still maintained a position that he was far better than Janet Mills, given the positions that we knew. Okay. But what I said at the time was, were people in love with Graham Plattner because he's a white guy? Or were people in love with Graham Plattner because of the policies? That remains to be seen. Because the very same people that attack Graham Plattner, who are now feeling vindicated, are still attacking Abdul Sayed. As a matter of fact, something very strange happened yesterday to one of my prominent haters, Sarah Longwell, who said, does anyone have the Sarah Longwell quote from yesterday? Or was it Sarah Longwell? It was Sarah Longwell, right? I think. Oh, no, it was Shannon Watts. It wasn't Sarah Longwell. I apologize. It was Shannon Watts, who said, I will never support any candidate who proudly campaigns with Hassan Piker, to which Deep responded with, this is an endorsement of Graham Plattner. To which she responded with, yes, Graham Plattner is better than Abdul Sayed. Something along those lines. Shannon was, not Abdul Sayed. Probably the worst possible time to come out with an endorsement of Graham Plattner over Abdul Sayed. A take that will live in infamy. Yeah, another one from the centrist. The difference between El Sayed and Plattner, and why Plattner is a better candidate than El Sayed is perceived as a far-left wacko. Plattner is perceived as a military douche with a temper. Voters love douches. They hate socialists. Again, this is what happens when you literally define your worldview off of opposing me on whether or not you think that a candidate, campaigning with someone like myself is indicative of their viability or not. Yeah, look, Shannon Watts endorses Graham Plattner for Maine. He hasn't asked. Persuade me. I appreciate that he hasn't aligned himself with the Hassan Piker. It's the one smart thing his campaign has done so far. Seems like you're trying to pivot as you never liked him. Didn't we already know he killed Afghan civilians? Seems like you're trying to pivot as you never liked him. No. I was willing to let my scrutiny of his background aside, given that he was far better than both Janet Mills at the time and also Susan Collins. His policies are what mattered to me. But there is certainly a level of things that you have definitely done that are verifiable and credible that I'm willing to forego my scrutiny over. And obviously, a verifiable sexual assault allegation goes past that standard. That's it. That's it. The lesson for the left, you should only ever run Muslims. I mean, this is a joke, but there is an advantage that comes along with running a Muslim candidate or a black candidate or a brown candidate. You have to overcome great fucking trials and tribulations to get to that point. Yes, you have to be an overachiever with an untarnished reputation. So yeah, it's kind of baked in, yes. They are held to a far greater standard, which was ironically the point that I was fucking making on that Pod Save America episode, making the comparison between Abdul Sayed and Graham Plattner. What is this? Wow, I love that it has to get the sexual assault for him to not be viable. Yes, of course. What are you talking about? You think that's not a significant accusation? If there was a significant accusation that was verifiable of a fucking direct war crime, then that would also be, again, relevant. That's it. Where's your Mexico shirt gone? I mean, I wore it yesterday. I'll wear it again in the future. CNN interviewed Plattner's accuser as well. Wait, really? In an interview with CNN, Jenny Rasico, 41, said the attack occurred in the main town where she lived in 2021, 2 years after she and Plattner began casually dating. The interview will be broadcast on The Lead with Jake Tapper. Rasko said one night in November and December 2021, Plattner showed up drunk at her house. It's definitely over for the record. It's definitely over I think it's definitely over for Plattner's campaign. If that wasn't clear. Will he still win the primary? He already won the primary. What is this? You going to call Hassan Piker the same name as y'all called me or so? Rape is a hard line. Not sure why that's controversial. Hassan Piker on political Plattner. This is curtains. That's the trifecta. Okay, that's the trifecta of a reliable allegation. It's holy shit. I believe this. This accusation. I believe this allegation. They now have a new goal since Plattner isn't fighting it. Tar Morris Katz and invalidate left-leaning political operatives. Listen. I need you guys to understand something, okay? Morris Katz and the Fight Agency are a very good ad agency, but they are an ad agency, okay? They are not a political organization. Morris Katz worked with Micah Lasher, okay? Micah Lasher is a massive supporter of Israel. Morris Katz and the Fight Agency, while I like the ads that they make, their job is to make ads. They will sometimes work with wonderful candidates and boost them, okay? And they will sometimes work with candidates that I don't agree with and I oppose, okay? This is entirely separate from the Democratic Socialists of America, okay? This is entirely separate from a political movement. They could potentially work with political movements that are aligned, even candidates that I like, even candidates that I work with, okay? But at the end of the day, it's just an ad agency. And I have made that very clear from the start. It doesn't mean anything. If anything, the person who is a movement builder that will be harmed from this association will be Bernie Sanders. Do you understand? I suspect that Graham Plattner betrayed the trust of a lot of people, including probably the Sanders wing, Ro Khanna. Do you think Bernie knew about these before endorsing? Fuck no. Are you crazy? Absolutely not. Wait, so the accusation is true? Rassico's testimony, especially given that there is conversations that she had with partners far before Graham Plattner even ran for office, have the telltale signs of a reliable accusation, okay? A real, verifiable, credible allegation of sexual assault. If there's corroboration, then what, that is, if you have corroboration, if you've talked to a therapist about it, and you have, any evidence that you can point to, if you've talked to a friend about it at the time, that is the hallmark of a reliable allegation. That even lends credence to other accusations. Because one of the things that we went through the Me Too era, right? Believe women does not mean women are incapable of lying. Believe women means don't reflexively disbelieve women. And there are certain things that you can look at in an accusation that lends credence to it. Okay? One of the things that you can look at in an accusation that lends credence to it would be, are there other victims? Do they have similar experiences? Have any of the victims talked to someone else? Did they write in their diary at the time? Did they tell another person at the time? Right? Did they tell a therapist? Do they have a therapist? Do they tell a therapist? Rassico's testimony has the hallmarks of a credible rape allegation. It's impossible to overlook. Okay? The messages of him, like him being a dog or whatever, like him fucking around, talking to other women, all of that stuff is, it shows that someone is of not the highest moral character, but that's things that, that you can add on and people can make a decision on whether or not that means that this person has the best mindset or not. But this is something beyond that. Okay? And this is something that I made clear in the last batch during the New York Times reporting. In the New York Times reporting, I told you if there was like verifiable sexual assault, that would be irredeemable. This is verifiable sexual assault. It's irredeemable. They quote you in this new Politico article. Plattner says he's taken on the time to reflect his candidacy. What did they quote me as? I didn't even give a quote to Politico, but I guess it's from the stream. This is current progressive commentator Hassan Piker said of Plattner's candidacy while reading the article of his to his Twitch audience. I believe this allegation. Fellow progressive commentator Emma Vigeland called the allegation immensely damaging while arguing that Plattner had not been fully truthful during his past scandals. The Plattner campaign insisted that nothing new was coming, and that was obviously not the truth. Just devastating, she said on X. I never trust the media completely, so why would I trust them when they have a story with no credible, verifiable evidence? This Politico story, even though the outlet Politico is obviously run by a person who's maybe a little bit biased, the article itself features actual reliable evidence. What is this? If you're going to start listening to women in the party, then stop listening to this vile misogynist who insists that we all blindly support an unvetted, unqualified, untrustworthy man. Okay, I'm going to quote retweet it and say, Shannon yesterday was saying she could support Plattner over Abdul because Plattner had not campaigned with me while Abdul had. Don't try to rewrite history, Shannon. You should be focusing on your energy to get Troy Jackson as a replacement. Anyway, Troy Jackson, Paige Louder, Shenna Bellows, Troy's DSA. What Kami says. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. So this means tomorrow all the pedophiles and rapists will be expelled from the Republican Party, right? No, of course not. That this would be a stupid metric. Susan Collins, 2028, new home. The Hasanabi Twitch chat. I mean, no, this is not. You know what? I'm not even going to fucking... Heard you sponsor this amazing video. Austin Ox is always right. What is this? Oh, AOC says of Grand Plattner, I haven't waded into that primary. She absolutely needs to stay 10,000 feet away from that race. Yeah, he was correct. It's so easy to see who Hassan supports. He goes to New York City. He goes to Denver. He phone banks for them. He fundraises for them. He did none of this with Grand Plattner, but some of you only care about the words you hear from your computer screen. Yeah, I know. I also wanted to interview Grand Plattner. I wanted to hear his own perspective in his own words early on, given the questions that I had about his background, about his perspective, and their campaign shied away from it. Their campaign shied away from it when they saw some of the things that I had said. And I was very open about it. I told you guys at the time. That doesn't mean I'm going to fucking lie to you and say that Grand Plattner is not a better candidate than Janet Mills or a better candidate than Susan Collins before all of this new information came out. Suck my dick. You know what I mean? It's funny to think they considered you to be too controversial. I think part of it was because... they thought that I would, hound them on certain things that they consider to be a weakness on the left flank. They didn't want any scrutiny from the left. According to your Redditors, you're not a part of the left. Guys, who cares? Okay. Yeah, Desiree Townsend also has some information. Journalist who broke the story on Mitch McConnell's cardiac arrest says he's brain dead per her sources. We will continue with the story, obviously. Let me hold on. Let me go to fucking Fox News to see what they're doing. They're probably running a victory lap here for Susan Collins, and CNN as well. Jake Tapper, the lead, is probably going to be a big one because they're directly interviewing the person.
Has the most rigorous quality.
Oh God. All right. Laura Loomer is also saying that Mitch McConnell's brain dead. I have to pee. Watch this ad for now. I'm sorry. Bro, I had to pee so bad. I had to pee so fucking bad. Maine DSA supported Troy Jackson's campaign for governor. If Plattner drops out, we have an opportunity to elect a new DSA senator out of nowhere. You piss loud as fuck. As people have said, the saving grace here is that there is a lot of Maine Dems waiting in line in the wings here who are very credible. Troy Jackson is the obvious one, but the governor candidate, Hanny Pingree, has 10 plus faves and has been leading her race by double digits. It could also be a full circle moment because her mother, Representative Shelley Pingree, lost the cons in 2002. She's a very different kind of politician, to say the least, but also one who ranked choice majority of the vote in the 72% Plattner primary electorate. Pissing the door. Wait, what are you talking about? You guys can't hear my pissing. What the fuck are you talking about? Governor is a side grade to senator. She's not going to float a Senate. Yeah, there was a Troy Jackson, Maine U.S. Senate poll. Troy Jackson against Susan Collins at 48 to 43. But that's, I don't know how reliable that poll is. You frying chicken in there. Okay. Yeah, Plattner's volunteer Discord wants Troy Jackson to be the new Democratic Senate nominee. I'm surprised that they're not covering this story yet. They're just like not, it hasn't hit the airwaves. Like they're instead talking about fucking Chuck Todd whining about Trump ruining 4th of July for him. Mitch McConnell brain dead. Everyone test your Coke, please God. You're so stupid. What gifts? What's happening with Plattner? We have no idea. Only one person can replace Graham Plattner? Okay. Sources tell me Mitch McConnell's brain is stable, please God. Okay. Swapping out Graham Plattner is obviously the right move. It should probably be Troy Jackson. He's from the same wing of the party. He got the Sanders endorsement. He's a favorite of local unions. He also held down a Collins plus 35 and Trump plus 15 state Senate district. It preserves the intent of the primary electorate as much as possible, in my opinion. You can say the wind. You can see the way the wind is blowing. You kind of look like Mitch McConnell. Thank you, chatter. Yeah, it should be Austin show. I think one of the problems with this the Bernie endorsement is that they're going to use this as an opportunity to fuck Bernie up, dude. They are going to beat the shit out of Bernie for this, which I don't think is appropriate. I don't think is acceptable. I think it's unacceptable. But I think the establishment Democrats are going to use this as an opportunity. I mean, they're already fucking attacking me. And my level of involvement with Plattner is non-existent. And they're fucking making it seem like I was the one who found him out of nowhere. So they will absolutely, both the right wing of the party and the far right, the Republicans, and certainly the wait, hold on. The far right, the Republicans, the fucking right wing of the Democratic Party are all going to use this as an opportunity to shit on Bernie Sanders and like left populists amongst their ranks. They're going to try to fucking hit this with like, they're going to try to be like, oh, this is just like Abdul or something when there's no comparison whatsoever, right? And they're nasty little perverts. The political opportunism of establishment Democrats is so expected and gross. Yes. They're going to try and fucking swing this on DSA candidates and stuff like that when Graham Plattner is not endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America, all this stuff. There's going to be a lot of like rat fucking, a lot of opportunities to just like the establishment Democrats are going to use as an opportunity to just like do whatever the fuck they can. You know. But yeah, he's not DSA.
$400 million gift from a foreign government, which he will likely keep for himself at the end of his term, and about which no Republicans in Congress have any questions, apparently. Anyway, he'll board it and make his way to the NATO summit in Turkey. The agenda is clear. Today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine desperately needs more missiles to defend itself for its Patriot systems after Russia evaded Ukraine's air defenses last night and pounded the Ukrainian capital with ballistic missiles, killing at least 21 people, including an entire family found dead, buried under rubble. CNN's Kristen Holmes is in Turkey's capital for us. And Kristen, Trump and Russian leader Vladimir
Turkey's
Putin
the table again.
spoke
Turkey's the
on 4th of
motherfucking
July.
table again. Turkey is the table again. It's at the table. It is the table. Pakistan's in the bottom, but also remember that. Remember that. Turkey is the table.
What exactly President Trump would
Turkey
or
defeated
could
America in
commit
the World
to
Cup.
in
Never
this
forget.
bilateral meeting that he's having with Zelensky. Now, here's how President Trump described at least part of the call.
I think we're getting much closer than people realize, and President Putin wants it to end. I will tell you that very strongly. A good call. And President Zelensky actually wants it to end now. And we're going to be going to NATO, and we're going to be talking about it. And I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it ended.
Now, this is something President Trump has been saying for some time. We talked to White House officials who said he understands the urgency. He wants to get this done. But again, I can't get any understanding as to what, if anything, President Trump would actually agree to in terms of aiding Ukraine. We know that's what these European countries are going to be pushing for during the summit.
Yeah, and we should note that President Trump said he was going to end the Russia-Ukraine war on day one of his presidency, which is 532 days ago. So everything is on schedule except 532 days late. This summit has the potential to be rather explosive, though. Kristen, tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, President Trump said he doesn't even want to go. The only reason he's actually coming is because it's being hosted by Turkish President Erdogan, and he considers him a friend. I was told that it was implied to his team by many different officials that it would be considered rude or inappropriate for him not to come. It would be kind of a shun to President Erdogan at a time when many believe that there is a good relationship between Turkey and the United States. But it's not just that. There are so many other reasons. President Trump has continued in private to angrily blast NATO, and publicly we've seen it spill out, saying they weren't there to help the United States during the war with Iran, which of course is still ongoing, but there is a ceasefire. The European leaders have pushed back, saying they weren't given any heads up that there was a war even happening. And then, of course, there
Table's
is
in
the
trouble.
Georgia Maloney of it all. The
Israeli Prime Minister
of
Netanyahu asked
Italy,
President
who
Trump not to
President
approve
Trump
the sale of
said
advanced weapons
begged
systems to
take a
Turkey
photo
that would
with him
upgrade the
during
Turkish Air Force according to
G7. She
Axios.
denied that, and then he doubled down over the weekend, saying maybe he needed a restraining order against her. Obviously, another recipe for some.
This is a very
pretty
important
intense
summit.
tension.
All right. Kristen
Jokes
Holmes,
aside, like not because Turkey's at the table, but it's a very important summit because like right now, Ukraine is fucking pummeling Russian oil refineries, pummeling Crimea, and Russia has obviously made gains, but their territorial gains have basically stopped at this point. Okay, and this is an opportunity for leverage for Ukraine, where this NATO summit. I just have no confidence in Trump. I was about to say this NATO summit, if there is like any opportunity for diplomacy, this NATO summit, given the leverage that Ukraine has currently, could be a unique moment to do that. The issue is fucking Donald Trump is the worst mediator. Like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but he's even worse than fucking Biden somehow. So I have no confidence in the Trump administration, and it would be a genuine shock if he is the guy that could now take advantage of if he's the guy who could now take advantage of the fact that like Ukraine does have leverage, so you can bring Russia to the table to come to a manageable conclusion here, one that is devoid of some of the ridiculous red lines that were on the Russian front, on the Russian side, like demands for territory that they had yet to acquire militarily, no standing military for Ukraine. Like these are all ridiculous demands that Russia was making, and it felt as though it always felt as though like Russia was just simply playing along with the notion of a ceasefire, a long-standing ceasefire, in an effort to continue making additional territorial acquisitions. So who knows? Obviously, the process of Ukraine hitting oil refineries in Russia has been aggressively pummeling and punishing the civilian population of Ukraine, hitting numerous civilian areas in Ukraine, Israel style, let's be real, directly engaging in war crimes.
Did threaten multiple times just this calendar year, earlier in the year, to invade Greenland, a NATO ally. Greenland's the territory of the Kingdom of Denmark, and President Trump has also repeatedly questioned whether Canada should be a sovereign country. So you can imagine what this has done to the bonds of trust. And Jake, that's what
there's
NATO's
also
really
this
all
too,
about.
obviously.
I was there on 9/11.
The U.S. shot its Patriot PAC-3 wad for Israel. That stockpile won't be replenished anytime soon. Ukraine knew that, but they're betting that their long-range strike campaign will hurt Russia more than Russia's unimpeded missile strikes will hurt Ukraine. That's what's going on right now. Because, like, the Ukrainian Air Force confirms that not a single Iskander-M ballistic missile or Zircon hypersonic cruise missile was shot down during last night's attack. This is likely due to the depleted Patriot interceptor stockpiles. Is cooked. America fucking at the behest of Israel, which is something that I've talked about already, right? Remember when I said their defensive capabilities have withered away because they blew it for Israel? And the same with even their offensive standoff munitions, right? America's offensive standoff munitions, Tomahawk missiles and the like, were depleted. Those munitions were created. Those munitions were stockpiled specifically for peer and near-peer adversaries like Russia and China. Okay? Hitting energy infrastructure is literally a war crime. Strange, not when it's Russia. I mean, fuck Putin, but no, I didn't say that it's not. What are you talking about? Yes. One side is trying to gain leverage over the invading party by attacking critical infrastructure. Yes. And it's succeeding. As far as gaining leverage, Ukraine has succeeded. It's like if both parties are engaging in war crimes, you have to look at who the offending party is. The offending party is not Ukraine. I'm sorry. That's fucking ridiculous. The offending party here is Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine. Why did you keep saying rat fuck? Did you learn that word from Jennifer and now you just love using it? Now you just love it or what? You think I learned? Most likely. It's so aggravating. Not everything is a rat fuck. Jesus Fitzgerald Christ. You think I learned as a political commentator a term that has been utilized in politics since the Nixon era from someone else? Is that what you... Also, I didn't even say that this Graham Plattner story was a rat fucking operation. I just never heard you say it, and I've been watching for 2 years until she said it. Perhaps in the last 2 years that you started watching me, do you feel like maybe there is actually an active political campaign taking place because it's the midterms? And usually you engage in rat fucking when there's an active contest? Perhaps that's the reason why, as someone who's been watching for the past 2 years now, you're hearing it for the first time ever, considering that I would not deploy this terminology when there is not a political contest taking place. Do you think maybe that's the reason why? Because that's where the term comes from? Stupidest discourse on your stream to date? Yes. Yes, of course I've used the term rat fuck when I discussed Bernie Sanders in 2020, which was 6 years ago. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to test something very new. Okay? I'm going to test something very new on the broadcast. I have a guest. His name is Nick Pollum. He hasn't been on the broadcast in quite a while, but he's back. He's in Los Angeles. All right, get in here. And we are going to try something new for the first time ever.
Okay.
All right, get over there. Yeah, get over there, dude.
Okay. All right.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
Look at that. I didn't even do that. Single shot.
Is this what you want me to say?
Single shot.
Right here?
Yeah, get in the middle. Get in the middle of that. Yeah.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Back a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Do you see that? This is a professional. You go even further. There you go. There it is. There it is. We've angled it. Look at that.
I'm in the corner of the chair, you know.
Yeah. And you're
Wait, is the mic
listen,
on?
yeah, your microphone is on.
Low. I think it's low.
Oh shit. What the fuck? Why is it so low?
Oh, his mic is off. Is it muted?
No, I don't know why your microphone is unbelievably low and it's got no fucking wait, hold on.
Give it some boost there.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn on the noise gate and then wait, where's the noise gate? Hold on, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna turn on the noise gate and then I'm also going to no, hold on. Don't worry, I got it. Okay. And then I'm gonna crank up the gain.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
I think we're good.
Yeah, it's good now. It should be good.
Oh my goodness. This is it? Am I the first one to sit in this chair?
Yeah.
Wow. I have a good view of the whole room.
Yeah. No, it's scuffed. It still sounds echoey. Wait, why? That's the wrong mic. Oh, wait.
Were you doing this one?
That's too. Oh, we've swapped the microphones, bro.
David, cook me.
Hello.
Oh my God. Here, speak now.
I might be loud as heck now. Am I good now?
Yeah, you're fine. I'm gonna lower it now.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. Jesus
Good.
Christ.
God bless us. This is great. How are we feeling? A little bit of tech. Oh, a little tech got you stressed.
It's classic. Okay.
Oh my
it's
goodness.
classic. It's a classic job
Yeah.
from, I got a team.
Yeah, I was talking to him.
Okay. I got a team and they're, sometimes God bless them, as Joe Biden would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, how professional is this? Look at this. This is like a professional conversation that we're having.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
You got the nice
This
colored
is
mics
like
here.
so what I'm trying to do, and you're the consummate professional when it comes to obviously he's still too quiet. Wait, really? I lowered his audio. Maybe that's why. Wait,
Maybe better now. Test.
Okay,
Usually I use the word anal, but
yeah,
maybe not
this
here.
should be fine now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he sounds muffled. Wait, really?
Uh-oh.
He sounds muffled. Gain too high.
Oh, yeah, maybe because you cranked the gain, maybe put it back at 65.
No, that's not. That's no.
Sure.
Hold on. Let's see.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
They're trolling.
No. Your gain is high.
As long as we shouldn't be peaking red. Test.
Yeah, but I peak red too.
Really?
I crank it.
Can you hear me, Chad?
Yeah, you should be fine now, but yours should be a little bit lower.
Wow, use the old school activity feed. Bob.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wait, what do you use?
I mean, there's a independent Stream Elements has its own special app, but it is what it is. Could use.
Oh, I don't have Stream Elements. See, Streamlabs.
They have an app too.
Oh, do they? I don't use any of the apps. I raw dog it. OBS.
You do. This is old school. It's good now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm back home.
Yeah.
This is
Noise
where I
gate
was
is
born.
weird now. Crank it up, turn it up. Noise gate is too crazy. What? How? It looks the same as.
I actually hate that mixer, by the way. It's so tricky. Yep. Not a big fan.
Wait, what the fuck is this? Is this working? No.
Chat, you should spam as hard as you can because it will fix the problem with your energy.
Yeah. Of course. I don't know how to fix the threshold from here. Maybe I do need the fucking. I don't know. I mean, it should be fine.
Is it good now?
They keep saying audio is good, but I never know. Cuck Corner Pollum.
Yeah. I'm used to
Anyway,
this.
last time you were here,
yes,
you got into a lot of trouble. I always get into trouble, but
Yeah.
you were also a participant in the trouble.
Yeah.
An unwitting participant, because I told you about my opinions, and there were plenty of opportunities for people to like clip super short bouts out of
People love doing that, by the way.
Yeah, they do. They do love doing that. You have a clip here that I'm gonna be looking at real quick.
Oh God, is it of me?
Wait. Yes, it is of you. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
So this was
literally
earlier today.
The problem is the haters seem to be the ones that watch them the most. So you'll watch an 8-hour Hassan stream, hate him, clip him 1,000 times to Twitter, but you're helping him by watching him. And I keep telling people, if you really want people to kind of vanish, just don't talk about them anymore. And it's happened to some people. You know, some people you don't talk about anymore. That, you know, they're gone. They're off in their own little world. You know, spinning slots. No one's watching. You know, you can do that. But people like with Hassan, especially and Asman, they don't. It's like you have to.
Why are you giving them advice on lowering my relevance?
Well, I wouldn't know if it's lowering your relevance.
Uh-huh.
Well, kind of would. Because think of this, do you want them to be so negative and mean about you all the time?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
And
I actually want them to stop.
The people who
doing
support
that.
you, okay, are enough for you to be as relevant as you want to be. Can I tell you what my mom said?
What did your mom say?
So my mother messaged me today.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And she wants some words. And my mom is a Hassan supporter.
Yeah.
And she has shown me that she has been in the comments defending you. My
Wow.
own mother.
That's crazy. Wait, can you go full screen on
Yes.
this?
My own mother.
No. Wait,
And
how do we do the? Oh, I just do like this.
Okay, now let me read this. And keep in mind, my mom literally thinks that you're a better son to her than I am.
Okay. I
True
mean,
story.
she's right.
Yeah, she is. So this is what she said. I said, I'll be heading to Hassan's today. Any messages for him? And she goes, yes, tell him that I know he's busy saving the world, but can he please help my son? He has lost his moral compass in search of fame and the almighty dollar. Also tell him that the next time he's in Michigan, holler.
Okay. I am. Is she voting for Abdul Al Sayed? Is the first question I have.
We'll get there.
Okay.
And she says, tell him I'll pay him to help you. I don't have much, but I'll give what I can. And then she goes on to say, ask him to offer you a job to help him save the world. So she wants me to work for you to help save the world. And then she says, are you going to be on the YouTubes?
That's crazy.
And then final
she's
thing,
right.
The final thing that she said, oh, text me when I'm there. I'm here. Okay. And then she says,
you're a bad son. You're a bad son for not letting her know immediately
Look at
because
this.
she's missing this.
so she watched it on the YouTube, I'm sure.
Okay.
And keep in mind, this is going to be clipped everywhere, and it's you know what's going to happen.
It's probably Fox News.
Yeah. And then she says, you better tell him too, which I did, mother. Sorry. She goes, tell him I'm definitely voting for Abdul El
Sayed.
Yes.
Let's go.
And then she says, tell him the suits are perfect. It goes like this.
Wow. This is why I've been wearing the suits. So
Yeah.
this is part of the reason
So
why.
like I said, yes, I was giving the haters some way to, but you have so much love and support that you don't even need them to keep yourself relevant. So as far as I'm concerned,
True.
they can just go and do their own thing.
W moms. W moms. I got the W mom community. And of course, moms are suit enjoyers. I knew that already. That's like I realized I was getting clipped and then getting posted.
Mm-hmm.
The Abdul Al Sayed campaign is really interesting because he's awesome. He's a stud. He was head of the Detroit Public Health.
Okay.
And so he's been at this for a long time. He's like, he wants everyone to have health care, stuff like that.
That's good.
Things that you would agree with.
Yeah, of course. The only person I remember is Kwame Brown.
Okay.
Not Kwame Brown. Kwame Kilpatrick. Kwame Brown's the basketball player.
Okay.
Remember him? Kilpatrick. He was a long time ago. He was the governor. Kwame Kilpatrick, and then he was throwing a party in the mansion. He did a whole bunch of drugs. Yeah, that's him.
The Michigan State representative, former Michigan State representative Kwame Kilpatrick.
Yeah, this is the last guy I knew.
He was. I believe he might have been pardoned by Donald Trump.
What?
Yeah, he got a criminal conviction, scandal cover up, 2003 civil lawsuit filed against Kilpatrick by ex-bodyguard Harold Nelthrop, former deputy police chief Gary Brown, state of the city address, recall efforts against Kilpatrick, criminal charges were brought, 12-count criminal indictment against Kilpatrick and Beatty, charging Kilpatrick with 8 felonies and Beatty with 7. Charges for both included perjury, misconduct in office, obstruction of justice. Worthy suggested that others in the Kilpatrick administration could also be charged. He resigns from the mayoralty in 2008.
This is the last guy I knew that was anything
Yeah,
political.
he had his commutation of sentencing in January 20th, 2021.
Wow. Why did he get pardoned?
He commuted Kilpatrick's sentence with less than 12 hours remaining before the end of his first non-consecutive term. The White House statement on the commutation of Kilpatrick reads, Mr. Kilpatrick has served approximately 7 years in prison for his role in a racketeering and bribery scheme where he held public office. During his incarceration, Mr. Kilpatrick has taught public speaking classes and has held Bible study groups with his fellow inmates. And Mr. Trump's commutation allowed Kilpatrick to gain release 20 years early.
Oh my God.
Though it did not vacate his conviction. Commutation left in place the almost $4.8 million in restitution and 3-year probation. Kilpatrick will not be able to run for office in Michigan until 2033 as a felon is excluded from politics for 20 years after conviction under Michigan law.
Yeah,
I feel like Donald Trump sometimes is just doing it for the love of the game. Like I do think sometimes, like, because he has pardoned a lot of Democrats, right? Like Henry Cuellar is another one. He got money from Azerbaijan. He was like not. So in the United States of America, you have to like if you're lobbying for a foreign government, if you're doing stuff at the behest of a foreign government, you have to like register as a foreign agent.
Okay.
Except for Israel, of course.
Okay.
Obviously. Donald Trump pardoned him.
But how
And
did
he
Donald
was
Trump
like-
even know who this was? Did someone just tell him?
Yeah, of course. There's people telling him
'Cause
who
he probably had no idea who this guy was.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, he might have known because Henry Cuellar is like the most conservative Democrat. Like he's like super, super right wing. He's in Texas. And I think Donald Trump did it for a quid pro quo to be like, I got you, now you got to get me. But Henry Cuellar has at times also has also been like critical of Trump, and sometimes he'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? We pardoned you. Like you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. So
You know?
the thing is, Hassan, I'm gonna be honest here. Can I be honest?
Mm-hmm.
I really only get my politics from you and from Asman. So I really, I'm being honest, brother. I'm keeping it plain.
Dude, your brain has to be fucking melted if that's the case.
Well, keep in mind, my brain doesn't really work that well, so it doesn't absorb much.
How is that even possible? Like, how is that even? We are on the diametrical opposite sides of virtually every issue.
I don't know what to do. I can't. I watch you. I watch him. That's it. You can check my Twitch history.
The fucking median voter, dude. The median voter. So like, you hear. So basically, you like I'll cover a story.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll flip back and forth.
And then Asmongold will cover the same story.
Yeah.
And his coverage on the story is literally the opposite. So
Right.
what do you think in that moment where you're like, I guess both sides are true? Like,
well, I try to come up with my own opinions based on what you guys have
this
shown me.
is why your mom wants me to save you.
Yeah, it is.
Because she's an adult and understands that you are not one. So that's why she's like, you have to stop.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the thing is, I'm not a man of much conviction.
Yeah.
I'm always kind of in the middle, I'm always like kind of in the middle. But
Okay.
I do be watching all the time.
So like,
Yeah. But the thing is, you want to know why I come over here though?
What?
So you can give me an update.
Yeah.
It's like the last time I came over, you literally, first off, you know my friends, Soda Poppin'?
Yes.
He didn't know what Israel was or Palestine was.
I know. He gave me. Yeah, that was quite the controversy.
What do you mean?
It was when he rated a lot of people F. I think even including Asmongold, or Asmongold was C tier or something. And
No,
Asmongold
I
was
think they were
really
both F.
mad.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, he's doing that because I defeated him in World of Warcraft or something."
I remember, and I asked Chance about that. He didn't remember that.
And he complained about it. Asmongold complained about it. It was interesting. None of it made to LSF. It feels like because if you recall, many years ago when I said, "Oh, XQC sucks for rating me low," everyone was like, "Oh, Hassan is going to kill himself."
Okay.
There's a lot of maneuvering on Reddit, on subreddits.
LSF has gone to the wind. It is completely astroturfed and brigaded, and it's not even to the point where it's even worth looking at anymore. They've just lost it. They've lost it in the sauce.
Swap the frames. It'll make the conversation appear normal. It looks like y'all are sitting away from each other.
So in the duo one, I think they're talking about.
Yeah, let me see. Let me fix it real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, nice. So,
It doesn't. It looks like we're facing away from.
You have to invert your camera now there.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
Wait, no, that's not true because you look at me. Because you talk, you look at me, right?
Yeah,
So
but
you look fine. See?
wait. Will it? No, it won't.
Look at
Oh,
me.
yeah.
It does.
It
It's good.
does. It does work. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's do it.
Hello.
Yeah.
It
Is that
works.
better? Did this work, chat?
The problem is these angles aren't symmetrical. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting perpendicular to you, so no
Yeah.
matter what happens, it's gonna look kind of weird.
I know, but well, this is the problem with like trying to do a. We're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have a like we're gonna do a revamp of the studio.
Yeah.
So that I can have like a like a real news broadcast, basically go from like doing straight to camera, single cam to like having guests on, and then it's
Oh my
it's
God.
gonna be.
So how do you feel that you've kind of like evolved past Twitch now, and you're kind of like a real person?
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know
what?
but I liked it. I liked being in both spaces. I like being in both spaces where I could do like, fun shit, go to like a phase party or something, you know what I
Can't
mean?
do that anymore?
I mean, I still could, but I have definitely collabed less in the last year or so, in the last couple of years, because like I think when people, I mean, every streamer is a brand.
Correct.
Right? Every streamer is a fucking brand, and with that comes a lot of responsibility, or like a lot of financial interests in not rocking the boat. So like from the perspective of the average Twitch streamer who doesn't know a single fucking thing about politics or credibility or credentials, they literally look at someone like myself and go, oh, this is a guy who rocks the boat. This is a guy who's not brand friendly.
Yeah.
They don't think like, oh, do I agree with his worldview? Do I
It's all about the dollar, is what you're saying.
yeah, they go, oh, this is a guy who, criticizes a lot of big corporations. Some corporations have also personally decided to, oh, the Twitch banner is fucking busted. Wait, why is there a Twitch banner? Oh, because it's on a scene. Wait, hold on.
When it's layered, it gets complicated.
Yeah. Well, how the fuck do I find the scene?
There was a clean one.
No, that's your single cam, but this is like this is the guest single. Did he hide them? No. Why is there a fucking? How did he do this? Oh wait, it's right here. All right, I got it. Hold on, I got it. Boom, banner's gone.
All right, hey, you did it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, working in.
By the way,
what?
So my mom is watching, and she's
Okay.
talking about me working for you. And she
Okay.
says, tell him you can start off at the bottom, maybe security or housekeeping.
You are not good at either of those things. How would you be able to do either of those things? You would be terrible at both security and housekeeping.
That's what my mom wants, man. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, obviously, it's not my strength.
Yeah, yeah. That would be dangerous for me. Like I feel like I would.
I'd be on LSF.
I'd be
and something would happen. It's looking.
yeah, I'd be compromising myself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, take Nick on the campaign trail. Yeah, no, that's not.
Why? Why not?
There's no
Is it
shot.
dangerous?
Well, you are great with tech.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I can fix.
You
any
could
tech.
do it. You want to be my camera guy?
I mean, honestly, I could if you really need me. I already was at the last DreamCon.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You want to be? I can
Yeah.
bring you around.
Listen,
Well,
I'm
I am
down.
going to go to Michigan if you want to come with me.
Yeah, that would make my mom so happy. She only really wants a few things from me in life. She wanted me to go to prom with a black woman, which I did, and she wants me to help you save the world.
Okay.
So those are the two things.
All right.
So I might as well.
Damn, this guy's good.